We are live.
Oh, are we? Welcome to News and Nonsense at Noon. I'm Auntie aka we are the aunties, all the aunties in all the land, and I'm here with.
I'm Farrah, your resident Caribbean queen.
I'm Nana, aka the Black Fairy, aka Dark and Lovely.
Now, we are here because it is news and bloody nonsense, because the world is literally going to hell in a handbasket, and we thought we'd go for the news and bring it to you in our way. We'll dig through all the crap that's out there to give you our take on it. We're here to help you separate the wheat from the chaff, sap from the crap, and what you need to know from what you don't need to know. But Nana, before we start, what do they need to get into?
Guys, you need to book the like button on entry. Please do it now and come into the chat and say hello.
And Farrah, what else do they need to do?
When you come into the chat and you book the like button, also comment and subscribe, please. And you can sign up for our membership too. It's only £4.99. It's cheaper than a bag of chips, as they say.
Thank you. And also, guys, my favorite bit. This is a disclaimer. These are our opinions. We are not experts. This is the ultimate cool Aunties WhatsApp group. If you want actuals and factuals, ask TLC, Google, or phone a friend. Any links we share are for you to go and do your damn research. And if you come for us, we'll come for you. Thank you very much. Who's in the chat right now? Who's in the chat?
Okay, they're coming in slowly. I know for the group, sorry, I did forget to share the link in there. It's been a morning. I missed the hour. So I'm dropping it in now. But we do have Kush Prince is with us. Yvonne is in the house. And Miss Mac is in the house as well. Come in and say hello, folks.
Happy Sunday. Should we give a second for everyone to join? If not, we can start. We'll give you a minute.
So we start with some trivia, something or another.
Trivia? I'm going to
some trivia news. Something light while we're waiting for people to come in.
I don't know. Well, mentioning TLC, I guess Chilli's come under fire a little bit for being revealed for being a Trump donator.
Yeah.
Bit mad.
Multiple as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it multiple? I just saw she gave 2024. She gave $900.
And $800. I saw another one for $800.
Yeah. And she said that each time she's done it, it was towards the veterans. I don't know how that would work via Trump.
Why don't you just give towards the veterans straight?
Precisely. I don't believe her. I would have never thought it though, but who knows? I don't know, Chilli. I wouldn't have put her as a Trumper.
No.
I mean, half of the people that are Trump, the blacks anyway, that are Trumpers, shouldn't be Trumpers. And it's like, where the hell did that come from? Apart from the obviously kind of chasing white appreciation ones, there's some kind of regular. I never thought Snoop would be at a Trump party.
Well, especially because he cussed Trump the first time round and said that anyone that goes to the inauguration is an idiot. And then the second time round, he's there front and center.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about the concert? Like, would you there's the TLC, En Vogue, and who's the other one?
Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper. Sorry, Salt and Pepper. How do you feel about the concert now? Would you still go, knowing that Chilli's a trumpet and that most of her money could possibly go to Trump's third term?
Yeah, it's only Chilli. Unless it's all of them. If all of them are supporters, then I'd be like, absolutely not. But she's only one person.
She's a key person in it, so you'd still go.
I would definitely go. I so hope they bring it over here because I'm gonna go. Chilli or not, I don't care. I would go.
Yeah,
the concert I would run to. It's just disappointing, and now she's doing an apology tour. It's like, chick, come on, you should have known.
Do you know how she should apologize? The concert that she's coming over with Jodeci. She should apologize by coming on the Aunties and talking about it.
She should.
We're her loyal fans, her loyal UK fans. Please come and talk about it and your life.
I mean, now we have it's an angle for the PR to try and make it happen so that that doesn't get boycotted.
I'll put in a call. We have had that. It's on the table, so let's see if it happens.
Yes, come and explain to the Aunties and your
parents. I've got her quick message. She says, to be clear, I am not MAGA, and I do not support any of the many policies that are causing great harm to the American people. I made a mistake too many make, really. I did not read the fine print. I thought I was supporting causes against human trafficking and for veterans. Two things I care deeply about, as my dad is a veteran and everyone knows I love children. I have learned a valuable lesson, and I ask for grace as I navigate this.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay, that's fair.
Because it could be, I guess, what do you do if Republicans put out a thing like support the veterans, if they're the people in power, if that's what happened, and so support the veterans, and it happened to be under the Republican thing,
Guys.
then that's the only way it can be like, okay, cool, because I'm not going to stop just because you got 4 years, you're not going to support the veterans because of the Republicans.
Yeah.
So
Or sometimes they can just put things out and not let you know that this is where the money's being funneled. That can happen too.
Yeah. So let's see.
Okay. That is fair.
That's fair.
But that was well written. So, okay, well done, Chilli.
Yeah. Nipped in the bud. But you can still come explain yourself on Aunties. It doesn't,
Absolutely. Please come.
Who else is in the chat? We've got a few more people at the congregation. Who else is here?
Okay, so Sleep for Peace is in the house. Louisa Wusu is with us. Afra is in the house. Chantel is here as well. African Man is here. Shay is with us as well.
Afternoon, peeps.
Shay also says, why not donate directly then?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there is that. It might have been easier. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. She said about.
She might have seen the link. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes you see a link, you're like, oh, that, and then dun. Ooh.
Oh, look, we have.
Well done. Yes, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. K.
Each being 20 minutes long. Greetings, did you see my emails of 2 videos, each being 20 minutes long about the UN resolution by Ghana? They are must viewing. Well, I haven't seen those, but we are going to get into it. That's going to be our first story up. So we will.
I did see the email. You needed to tell us timestamped points because obviously you can't run a video for 20 minutes. So next time, if you see something and you want us to play it, please put the timestamps. Make it about a minute to a minute and a half long as well, and then we can add it to the show.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you very much,
Kevin.
And just quickly for Glenn.
That's not what I meant to do.
Quickly, her Michelle Obama post, she said it was by mistake. We don't know about that part. That's a bit weird. But how Chilli made the mistake of reposting Michelle Obama as a man posts is a bit odd. How she made that mistake.
Did not see that.
Yeah, that's the other thing she did, was the donations and reposting a post saying Michelle Obama as a man. But she said she didn't mean to repost it. I don't know how because Twitter's different from, Instagram. I think it was on Instagram, not a tweet as well. So I don't know.
Repost is very solidly there. Like,
and back in the day,
you know what you're doing when you're reposting.
Yeah, and back in the day, the repost wasn't like how it is today.
Yeah,
it was you actually had to physically click on it and then repost it, like really intentionally. Yeah. So
now you can hit the button quite easily. I find.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That button is only a function
last
year or this year, so not in the most Obama days, obviously. All right, guys, let's get into it because we've got a long afternoon ahead of news and nonsense. And we've got some two new features. We've got Farrah's take and Nana's alternative world.
Nana's alternative corner.
Nana's alternative corner and Farrah's take on some things that she's found. So first up, though, the big breaking news story is is that the United Nations General Assembly has voted to formally recognize the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity, with calls for apologies and reparations on their global agenda. And it was led by Ghana's President Mahama. And what I didn't do is get my video lined up in time. Sorry about that. I will do that. But first reactions to that, what did you lot think?
Long time coming, I'd say.
Yeah. I appreciate the 123 countries that voted that it is the greatest tragedy to befall the human race.
Yes.
But yeah, we can get into it. I'm adding the membership link to the chat now, guys. If anybody wants to gift memberships, you can do that as well. I'm dropping it in now. Okay?
I think as well, no one was surprised by the countries that voted against it, and no one was surprised by the countries that abstained. It was very representative of colonization in general, wasn't it?
We will get there. We will get there.
Very much so.
Sorry, I don't know why.
We already have dissent that has come from Yes Mayhem. Ghana sold slaves and still traffics humans.
Here we go. Listen, I've got a long doc on this, so you can start because I'm ready for you all.
You're like, let's go. Yeah.
Let's go.
In March, we're called to stand on the right side of history. Let it be recorded that when history beckoned, we did what was right for the memory of the millions who suffered the indignity of the slave trade and those who continue to suffer racial discrimination. Let our vote on this resolution restore their dignity and humanity.
In favor, 123, against 3, abstentions 52. Therefore, draft resolution A/80/L48 is adopted.
We will never forget the victims of slavery. And we must never forget the malevolent system that sustained it for so long. I welcome the steps some countries are taking to apologize for their role in the evil of slavery and to join an honest dialogue about its lasting consequences.
So that's nice. That's what's happened. We have had it recognized. And some of the key points that this, what Mahama's asking for, he's hoping to bring, the change that he's hoping to bring.
Trade, the gravest crime against humanity. It calls for UN member states to engage in dialogue on a full and formal apology and for reparations as a concrete step toward remedying historical wrongs. The resolution also urges the prompt and unhindered restitution of cultural items to their countries of origin. 123 countries voted in favor of the resolution. 3 voted against it, including the United States. 52 countries abstained, including the UK and all of the European Union.
So how do you feel, first of all, about the people that abstain? Because it's the whole EU and the UK who abstained, make that clear. And you've got US and Israel and Argentina who said, nah, fuck that. We're not going to win.
Nah, it wasn't that bad. It's fine.
Nah, say no.
And then you've got the European colony, the colonizers in Europe being like, I don't really want to talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
So how do you not feel about that? I mean, it's kind of obvious, but also why? What's your why for why? First of all, the 3 big, not even a big figure. I don't know where Argentina's coming from, but the 3 that said no. What are your first thoughts on the 3 that said no?
I'm not surprised.
I would expect that. Most definitely, I would expect America. Truly, I am surprised that the UK didn't say no as well. Basically, abstaining is a no, but I'm surprised they didn't do a big statement of a no. I am surprised at that. America, of course, they are not going to see it as a huge crime in any way. They know where this can lead to if it gains momentum and how they too are going to have to pay into whichever the pot is that goes for reparations. I think they know that that's the groundswell. And they're heinous like that. Americans are the world's bullies. Why would a bully admit to being a bully? It's like, it makes sense. And Israel is America, basically.
It's colony as well, isn't it? Look what they've done.
It's the same shit. It's just in West Asia. And Argentina, apparently a lot of the Nazis actually ran to Argentina. That's where they got their base.
Yeah.
Racist as hell. I get it. So yeah, and then yeah, it's to be expected, really, isn't it?
It is to be expected. It's just, like when you think, okay, we're all on a world stage, we're all going to try and bandy together and find. You'd think that even though this has been said, they might say yes to look good, because right now America's reputation and everything is in the bin. So we're talking about rebranding and trying not to look like as you are. I know they don't really care, but I thought there might be a bit of smart playing, but this is disgusting. It just makes them look awful, but I guess they don't care about how they look. So in regards to those the abstainers, I was going to jump to, we're going to speak about the backlash from the black space. But first of all, the British whites were very angry with those who did. We had Kemi talking about it. We also had some whites from the UK saying, why the hell was the UK so lily-livered? Why didn't they just go for it and just say straight off the bat that they should have said no, basically. I'm trying to Oh gosh, I'm having technical difficulties.
Hang on, we have Kevin has given us a donation. Thank you so much, Kevin. You're doing very well this Sunday.
You.
Excellent, excellent. And he says, "Oh, aunties, I've got a list of receipts with dates on the African revolts against the slave ships from the Gold Coast, known as Ghana today." Thank you so much, Kevin. I mean, there are lots. There's even revolts that happened in and around the castles. There's lots.
Yeah.
So
there's loads. So then this will, yes, listen, I'm ready for you guys all. This is what stupid Farage is saying.
The comments are killing me today.
Has voted for the United Kingdom to pay trillions of pounds in slavery reparations for the slave trade. Is it time to defund the United Nations?
Look, it was a UN court that gave an advisory judgment to give away the Chagos Islands. It is now the United Nations telling us we should go bankrupt to apologise for what people did in 1775 or whatever it might have been. Forget it. The UN has no legitimacy over this country whatsoever. If you add to that other elements like the World Health Organization, which I don't believe we should be a part of at all, frankly, we're being kicked in the teeth repeatedly by the United Nations, treated abusively. We shouldn't be giving them money. It's quite simple.
Going on in the United Nations, and what has been the response of His Majesty's government? Well, in the United Nations General Assembly, they've had a vote that says that we should pay reparations. And what do you think this bold, forthright, courageous government did, led by a man who only recently had his head in his hands in the House of Commons? It abstained. So the motion went through. And although the General Assembly, in a way, doesn't matter, its votes aren't binding, it's symbolic and it's indicative of how weak this government is. Let's be clear. There is no argument for reparations at all. First of all, it was the Royal Navy that put down the slave trade, the Royal Navy that stopped slavery across the globe. The United Kingdom was the first country of any significance to stop slavery. Denmark may have done it first, but Denmark had no ability to stop the slave trade. We did. We banned it across the whole of the British Empire in the 1830s, whilst other countries, even our allies, were still trying to slave trade. And the slaves themselves were traded by their neighbours. They didn't come into the system from us and from our iniquity. It was the people who brought it to an end. Something actually, however evil it is, that had been part of human society since time immemorial. And now greedy nations are asking for more money from us. Nations that should be grateful for what we did in our civilizing role across the world when we stopped awful things happening. We took the rule of law, we took democracy to nations, we took the common law, which has been so powerful in developing countries and increasing prosperity, and we stopped the great evil of slavery. Not only should we not pay reparations, but we should be paid for the work that we did to make the world a more secure and a better one. And the United Nations vote is part of a slippery slope. You see this with the lunatic Chagos judgment that came.
Oh my God.
One more.
Wow.
Sorry. One more.
There's so many things in what he said.
Reparation would, at the low end, would cost us billions. At the middle would cost us trillions. And at the top end would cost us probably the entire economy's GDP. And yet we have the UK's representative not say, this is ridiculous. All bad things have happened in the past. We can't have actions every time something wrong has happened on our watch. Instead of that, they say, actually, not a bad point. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to abstain on this. How on earth could our country abstain with something which could literally wipe our economy out? Why haven't we got a prime minister or a foreign secretary or a permanent secretary of the Foreign Office stand up and say, we are not abstaining on this issue It is completely wrong. We are fighting for our people. We are not paying one penny. We are voting against. Who made that decision? Please, was it you, Yvette Cooper? Was it you, Starmer? Was it you? I don't know who it could be. Who could possibly have said we should abstain on an important issue which would affect? Don't worry about what's happening in Iran. This will be 1,000 Irans, right? Yeah. So please, would somebody from the Labour Party explain to me how such a decision was made? What is it?
I just wanted to show you some angry whites before we get into the black conversation. These people, you know what pisses me off? It's like, first of all, nobody seemed to watch the speech, listen to the speech. No, even if finances come into it. First thing that Mahama said was nothing to do necessarily with actual financial. He wasn't even saying, let's ruin the West. All he said, first and foremost, return our artifacts. First and foremost, let's get some education up in this place. First and foremost, let's even out the trade system that you'll have purposely set what you lot call third world countries as an imbalance.
Okay, one second.
Sorry.
We needed to do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Rosh says, left out asking Arabs and their own fellow Africans also purposely neglected the part that they played in selling and exploiting Africans in the slave trade. Most definitely. It's fair, but one step at a time as well. Like, yeah, this is at least an acknowledgement. That's why they've all got their knickers in a twist.
Exactly. Like, anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the angry whites of the UK? Talking about this is going to ruin the UK. I'm fighting for my people. Thoughts? I'm asking you. You guys go quiet. You're on mute.
I have so many thoughts. Let's talk about the first clip you played. So the idea that we should, the descendants of enslavement and the descendants of people who were taken from those countries, the idea that we should just be like, but Britain stopped it. They're the ones that stopped it. We owe them everything. After 400 years, they decided to stop it. Why are we talking about it? What's the point? Like, what? So basically, right? They stopped something that Black people have been trying to get, which was freedom for decades, for centuries, right? Yeah. They stopped it. They stopped it not because it was beneficial to them, to the people that were enslaved, but because it was beneficial to them. Also, when they stopped it, they gave reparations. And if you want to talk about fucking reparations and how that affects the economy, they gave reparations to the slave owners. So if it isn't anything that we should be concerned about, let's not forget they gave reparations to the slave owners. Let's not forget that here in Britain, we as taxpayers were paying towards those reparations until 2015. That means that the descendants that you keep saying, oh, let's forget about it, the descendants of slavery and all these things that I've said before, were paying for our own freedom. So it isn't that far in the past. It's not something that we should forget about. If it was something that we should have forgotten about, we should never have been paying towards that. Those are all points. The fact that this man is saying that we can't do it because it will ruin us, that's on you. That's on you. And the other thing is, we are asking for you to just admit that this was the greatest tragedy in the fucking known human world. Just admit it. Like, why are you so anti-admitting it? And the audacity of people to say, well, you sold people too. We all know that the transatlantic slave trade did not work in the same way as slavery in all those places you've mentioned. Exactly. It did not operate in the same way. We know that. Yeah? You also had indentured slaves yourself. Like, exactly. If you're talking about how you sold your own people, you did it too, to your own people. So fuck off, all of you. It's just really annoying. I cannot stand it when they try to justify it by we came to the rescue. You should thank us. We should thank you for being sent. You took from us. You don't want to give us back our artifacts. You don't want to admit that you learned from us. You don't want to admit that mathematics and all those things didn't come from you. Hygiene didn't come from you. Cooking didn't come from you. You lot were eating raw food. Medicine didn't come from you. All of these things didn't come from you. So stop acting like you civilized us. You didn't. Anyway, rant over.
First and foremost, thank you, Louise, for your super sticker. Thank you very much. And we've got another one. We got a live one. Thank you, Strike. I've been told my so here, someone told Shay to manage those funds better. All right, Strike. Oh, look, and Kevin's back. Thank you. I've got books and articles that detail those pre-colonial North African societies that abolished the slave trade. And the thing is, the one thing that's, thank you, Kevin, so much.
Thank
One
you,
thing
Kevin.
to know is that they didn't stop slavery. Yes, there were abolitionists. There were abolitionists working with Black people in the Americas and in Africa and everywhere that were trying to stop this thing. Yes, there were abolitionists from around the world, not just white abolitionists, but also it's because this trade was declining. You lot were losing money in trading physical people as the advancement of technology and the industrial movement. So it wasn't just, out of the goodness of your heart that you decided to stop the slave trade. It was because it was not financially sustainable. You realized that it was not a good thing to be doing for yourself, your benefit. So please don't go in.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's that. It wasn't morality. It was the increasing amounts of revolts and the sheer volume of people that were captured within the slave trade who were revolting. It was becoming way too expensive to keep it going. It then, in some instances, was turning into like a loss leader. Like it's like we're not actually even making money from this. And then you have all of the cases that were being put forward in courts and trying to do it that way to actually. After a while, folks are going to sit down and be like, you know what? We can't actually do this. We can't sustain this practice because there are so many revolts. People, you had let's call them landlords, being killed, poisoned, systematically, like you're all dying. People now are scared to get involved in the trade because their family may get murked. That's why if we were all docile and compliant as Africans and were going along with it, and the people born into this as well, it would be they would have carried on for millennia. If it was if we were all just like, you know what, we're just a slave class. It wasn't like that. And then that happens over there in the Caribbean and Americas. That takes place. But within Africa, it weren't like you guys got a moral high ground to, no, we shouldn't actually do this to our fellow human beings. We weren't wrong. No, you changed the system and you had colonialism. So you still had people in bondage. You still had them working under you. You were killing folks, millions of people still on the continent of Africa and in Asia as well. It's like to sit there and be like, we should be paid is so morally arrogant. It's like you really please remove.
We brought democracy, he said. We brought
what are
democracy.
You talking? And they rewrite history and really need people to actually look at all of the different civilizations that they have just erased. And they have posters of the old worlds and the old civilizations and how powerful the Moors actually were. Yeah. And they just remove it like, oh, the Moors just ruled in Spain. No, they didn't. Like there's so many different civilizations that they have removed from our history books where history seems linear when that's not what it is at all. Like lots of different things were taking place at the same time. And these Europeans, these new Europeans that are coming along and being like, we civilized the world. Let's just remember, they are the newest humans on the block. And they also are the only ones that have Neanderthal DNA. Yeah. Let's all remember that. And that's their science that has told us that.
Yeah.
As well.
Thank you, Ailey, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. You guys on a roll, and thank you very much. Thank you. And so then we move on to not just the angry whites. We have some angry blacks in town. And I've spoken about the UK's Kemi Badenoch, who literally echoed what those angry whites from the UK were saying. She said the same thing. Britain should have said no, clearly with their chest because of all the great things that Britain has done. That is an immigrant Nigerian black woman who is.
I cannot believe it.
She's and there's no. I couldn't find. She said it. This is not new news. She said this before. I found lots of old videos of her saying it. There's no need to show it again. She keeps saying it, and she's been saying it, and she's going to uphold her.
She'll say it until the day that she dies.
Yeah, till the day that she gets her black awakening, which even that she probably won't give a damn. But then, what was really stressful to find were quite a few black people, black Americans, specifically on this particular topic, saying, no, this is not a good thing. And actually, Ghana's coming for our coins, our reparations. this isn't a win for Black Americans. We need to sit this one out. We need to sit with this one out and actually make sure that those Africans don't come for our reparations. This is an encapsulation of what the kind of thinking has been.
Thing, because a lot of people don't understand why people were upset when the guy from Ghana came over. Was it the president? And he laid wreaths down at a memorial for Black American forefathers. Okay. Now, so this whole thing, this whole reparations thing, okay, is a lot of people feel like Africa, the African Union, different countries in Africa, particularly on the West Coast, should not tie themselves to Black American reparations for many reasons. Number one, the nature of the injury is not the same. Okay. The nature of the injury is not the same, and the remedy isn't going to be the same. That's just the bottom line. So let's say, for instance, the United States, let's say colonization. Well, Africa was colonized. Yeah, they were colonized, but they weren't colonized by the United States. The only particular place that was quote unquote, you could say colonized by the US was Liberia, but that wasn't the same type of colonization at all. It definitely wasn't. It was the American Colonial Society going over there, making an actual deal with the indigenous people in that area at the time. And they said, yeah, y'all can relocate free Black Americans and Caribbean people over there, and they can live over here. That's what that was. It wasn't the colonization that took place across Africa from countries like Germany, France, and all those other places. Okay, in Europe. Okay, so that's number one. But number two is the fact that, like, everyone knows that many African leaders in West Africa helped set up the transatlantic slave trade. Everybody knows that, right? So that's and we don't need to go into it. It's just the truth. Many of them helped set up the transatlantic slave trade and participated in it and got what they wanted out of it. Whether they got wealthy or not off of it is one thing, but it was a trade. That's the key word, trade. Okay, and that's where the point of no return comes in. Is that my forefathers were cut off, meaning they didn't want us no more. Okay. So it looks like now this repair the damage thing, you really can't repair that damage. Not in that sense. Like I said, because the nature of the injury is different. Okay. Whereas during colonization, first off, colonization did not last nearly as long as the transatlantic slave trade or slavery in the United States of America and oppression in the United States of America to Black Americans, period. It didn't. In the United States of America, that thing lasted, we're going to say, from 16th century all the way through Jim Crow. Okay, that's not colonization. Colonization of Africa did not start. No, it's totally different. And so that whole breakup of the continent and that whole takeover, that whole bum rush of the continent didn't happen until way later, after the slave trade was over. Okay, it didn't last for centuries. So, like I said before, the nature of the injury is different. So, and that's why people are offended, because it's like, wait a minute, why are you trying to take what belongs to specifically Black Americans and say you want to split up what Black Americans were getting reparations? You want to split it up throughout the whole of Africa, and that's not cool. That's really not cool, because then what would that do? That will actually take from Black America what belongs to Black America. Okay,
because there's no slave trade. There was no slave trade.
That honestly belongs to Black America. And here's another thing I just thought about.
Only in America.
While several other places continue to need, I'm gonna say quote unquote need, African enslaved directly from the continent, that wasn't the case for the United States of America. Okay, that was not the case. We were, what do they call it? We were involved in what was called the Second Middle Passage. That was within the United States of America, because they'd already, how am I gonna say this? The United States wasn't constantly at that particular time. There was a point, I believe it was the early 1800s. They weren't bringing in loads of African people into the United States of America directly from the continent. That was more happening in the Caribbean and in Brazil. Okay, that's documented fact. We were reproducing here in the United States.
That's true.
Period.
So nobody else was having kids, no?
Trade things.
No. In the Caribbean, no one was having kids.
You have to go into, I'm not going into the history of the United States of America, and that has a lot to do with that one drop rule too. Okay, because they were
Oh my God! Please shut her up! I can't listen to that anymore. Enough.
There's more that she said. There's more that she said.
No, it was based off of one drop rule. It wasn't based off of people coming from Africa.
And to be
fair, if you follow what I'm saying,
that she has a logic that's crazy, but that's what people are agreeing with. 1 second.
Okay, we had generations. Our generations had survived in the United States of America, where a lot of in the Caribbean and in Brazil, they had to keep getting enslaved from Africa longer because a lot of them were dying. It was very brutal, far more brutal conditions down there. Okay, so there are a lot of reasons why it's not understood why Africa or especially West Africa will continue to latch itself to Black America in that sense of reparations. Because what happened in the United States of America, as far as oppression and everything else, had nothing to do with the continent of Africa. Not saying Africa does not deserve reparations, but they deserve it more from Europe than it does. So basically, all of our reparations should belong to us. They should never belong to white people. Talking about for their loss, it's the same thing. White Americans got paid for their loss, okay, and now it seems like West African leaders, and I say that on purpose. It seems like West African leaders want to get paid by claiming a loss of the people they enslaved, of the people their forefathers enslaved purposely and sent off. Yeah, that right there. We've already been through this before over here in the United States of America, and that's why. And
she has this super logic. She comes with this epiphany. This
that's exactly why it doesn't sit right with Black Americans, because Black Americans tend to know a lot more history, and we know that white Americans got paid for their loss. Also, in Europe, the same thing happened. Europeans got paid for a loss of enslaved. So the same thing they're trying to do, these leaders over here are trying to do. That's what it seems like. Don't get mad at me. It's the truth. It looks like West African leaders are trying to get paid because of the loss of the enslaved that their forefathers captured. I'm dead serious. That's what it's like. That's what it looks like. I mean, somebody tell me something different. I don't know if I'm saying it right, because this is just off the top of the dome, but like that's what it looks like. So you're trying to do the same thing. The white enslavers got paid, the freaking European enslavers got paid, and now the African enslavers want to get paid.
Okay, I get it.
That is what she's saying. She's trying to say.
I get the logic now. So the arguments that has been peppering the chat in that the Africans were the forefathers of the enslavers. They had captured the Africans and then were doing a mutual trade with the white people. Somehow, though, within that, in this logic, somehow the Africans must be so stupid they weren't able to build up their countries like the West were. And now, because their stupidity has landed smack bang, and they're like, hang on, the slave owners, they got paid. We should be paid as well because we are owed it, because we captured everybody and we weren't numerated properly for it. That is the logic that this woman is represented. And yes, Mayhem believes to be true that is factually what took place, with all of the evidence that can be laid out all over West Africa to East Africa to parts of South Africa. This is what they believe took place. There was African slave traders like the white people who had plantations in Africa, I guess, maybe growing Africans, and then they were like, here you go, put them on ships, and took it over and took them over and were paid in the same way.
And what she's adding in with some mad logic that I've never actually heard someone say this before. She's basically thinking similar to how the West does it with your or countries that have the hierarchical generational people in power. So like the royal family, she's saying that the slavers, this royal family of slavers in Africa, basically, so Mahama is a descendant of a slaver. So that's the only reason. So it's the leaders. She's saying the leaders of the slave trade, so their family lineage, they are the ones who come together saying we are deserved reparations.
Right.
Misrepresenting history in a whole. It was about. Okay, let's get to our super.
Okay. I see. So somehow the African families, we have a Rothschild. We have the Rothschilds that like that they were right. Okay, and the evidence of that, please. Because if it's coming from the dome, I like show us the evidence of this. These lineage, like how I can now pull up a whole thing about the Rothschilds, and you can see throughout history what they did with America. You can see how it all goes. How did that happen in Africa, please? How did that take place? Like let us know. Let us see the wealth of slavery that is in Africa, that resides there, where you can say, yes, this took place? Please let us know.
Let us
yes,
know.
Mayhem, you were saying do your research. Give us the evidence of your research. It's not do your research. Tell us why you would think the stupidity that was spouted from this woman is fact. Please let us know, because maybe in your timeline this makes sense. Maybe.
Also, let's get some thanks. Thank you, Kevin, for your $5. Thanks, appreciate it. The human trafficking of Africans for slave trade resulted in atrocities of livelihoods, entire villages and neighborhoods being destroyed and wiped out. Trust and believe. That is what's happened. It wasn't just a free-for-all. I don't even understand what you guys are romanticizing to make it. I think there was another one to make you guys feel better, to be angry with Africans. I don't know what it is. That why you want to hold on to this belief, because you're thinking through a Western lens as well. You're thinking that you're treating Black people the same as whites who have the Neanderthal DNA, that their need to colonize, pillage, rape, and take over and destroy, which is evident, which has been played out through history. If we are the biggest continent, the biggest country, the biggest continent on this so-called earth, why the hell, and then I said, are we not a superpower dominating things? Why?
Please read this as well, because people, her whole rhetoric is nonsense, because they're not asking for fucking money.
Exactly.
They're not asking for money.
Kevin says, thank you, Kevin, as well. We have made it clear that African leaders are not looking for money. It goes against our conscience to seek to profit from it. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudetso Ablakwa, because there was lots of this rhetoric, like you guys are trying to take it, and her saying that we're attaching to the American struggle. So do you even know how big Ghana is to the Black population in America? There's about 14, 15, how many millions of Blacks are in America compared to how many millions are in Ghana? Just Ghana alone. So how can we attach?
The resolution wasn't asking for reparations. Like, I'm literally look,
that's what everyone's focusing on. Didn't ask for it.
Is documenting that this was the greatest crime against humanity. And we just sit that there, that we can all say what took place was the greatest crime against humanity. That's what it says. And then within there's been a series of speeches that are actually saying these crimes cause these effects to Africans around the world. I'm also surprised, because I thought that there was a whole load of Black Americans that were like, we're not even African. So I was also like, hang on, there was one account the other day, you were saying you weren't African. Now you're saying Africans are trying to jump on the reparations things. Every nation can go for the reparations that they want. The same the Japanese people got their reparations, the same the Jewish people got their reparations, the same now they're saying that Iran is going to be like, we need our reparations. You come in and they do need reparations. That doesn't mean because the Japanese got their reparations that the Japanese people now should be like, Iran, you can't ask for reparations because we're still waiting for some of ours. The logic beggars belief, but they're also fighting and wars to save your villagers as a king. It's like human trafficking now, that there is a system to it, that there will be people that will be trafficked who, in order to save themselves, have to then incorporate other traffickers. They were pitting tribes against each other. We will wipe out your ethnicity, your tribe entirely, unless you give us these Black bodies that we need. That's what was going on. Nobody was a winner in Africa. Nobody. Everybody is out here for survival.
The leaders of these African nations, they tried to trade in other things with the Europeans and they got turned away. And they also were told, it's pretty much like if you look at how America are blocking off Cuba now and no one can trade with them. This is the same thing that happened to those African nations. They were told, well, if you won't trade in humans, we ain't going to trade anything with you. And you can't trade with my man and you can't trade with him. So then you're in your own little community, your own little nation, and you're not able to do anything and your nation are suffering. So people don't talk about any of that stuff. We're not sitting here saying that the Europeans were the only people in the world to ever do enslavement. We're not saying that. What we are saying is the transatlantic slave trade was completely different to anything that had come before it, and the suffering of over 12 million people, and not to mention people that died across the oceans. Like it was not the same thing. We had our history, our name, our language, our religion, all of these things taken away from us. Do you not fucking get it? Do you not understand it? And the audacity of Americans to think that you are the only people that were enslaved and were suffered. I'm Caribbean. Like, hello. Like, a whole thing happened over there. And it's not just America. It's the Americas, as in the continents. Yeah? That's where slavery happened. Cha.
It's actually really annoying. Like, yes, man, saying like the Africans were working directly. Are you not hearing? We have said this. It's not one country. It wasn't just Britain. You had the British, you had the Portuguese, you had the Germans, you had Jewish from various different lands involved in this as well. Like, the Jewish people try and get away with this. They also were very much involved in this trade. You have people that have arms that you have not seen before. They are coming with a different type of firepower to come and descend on you, and they came in peace at first. You have actually almost a century of working with a set of folks that you're like, oh my God, we're all prospering. And then they add in another layer. I don't think people are really aware, because this is why it is the gravest thing against humanity, the total switch up to, if we were now all trading, and then all of a sudden there is somebody like America can do this, that shuts you all down and is like, unless you comply with our terms, you ain't eating. And you are going to watch millions of your people as a king, millions of them descend into chaos and famine. And they did that. And there are tribes that we don't even have now, because they were like, we are not complying with you guys. It wasn't like everybody was queuing up for, oh, let's go and trade with the British. Not at all. There was wars that were fought over this shit. There are families decimated. You don't even know your line. Like, come on now.
Agreed.
Let's use our brains, because if it was just trading, West Africa would be looking like freaking Dubai, because Dubai is trading now Indians, and that's why Dubai looks like, and Pakistanis, that's why it looks like what it looks like. Let's use our brains for a second and park our victimhood like we are the only blacks that suffered, because you weren't.
Yes, honestly. Man is saying Africa should not go into famine with 1.3 trillion of our tax dollars. We have always paid Africa and the Caribbean. What you're paying for right now, mate, is war. Yeah, you're in some country that can't eat. Exactly. Yeah, let's think about that. So this rhetoric that they've always paid the Caribbeans and the Africans is nonsense. Yeah, true. Because what they've done is they've bled them dry. Do your research, bruv.
Mad Jimmy, thank you very much. I am ashamed that the whole Europe voted to abstain. Thank you, Mad Jimmy. And there was another one somewhere in the chat. I've got to find it. Here we go. Thank you. Share, we appreciate your efforts to educate aunties. Thank you very much. It's very tiring. Someone said earlier, when I say Neanderthal, I wasn't talking about Black Americans. I was talking about whites. I was talking about, we just said it, white people. We've said
it a million times.
There's no, from our side, there is no misunderstanding of what Black America, chattel slavery, what it did to Black Americans. There's no misunderstanding. We are very clear. And Mahama actually said, in his speech, Mahama said, here in the United States, Black history courses are being removed from school curricula. Schools are being mandated to stop teaching students about the truth of slavery, segregation, and racism in American history courses. Books about those topics are being banned in schools and public libraries, museums, art centers, and other institutions whose budgets rely in any way on public funds are being prohibited from scheduling exhibitions and programs or from displaying materials promoting racial awareness or Black history, much like the law that was put in place to regulate the punishment of the enslaved in Barbados. These policies are becoming a template for other governments as well as some private institutions. At the very least, they are slowly normalizing the erasure. Now, this is not a man that's talking about this is only for Africa, because we had another person, I think her name is Tabitha, was talking about he just wants it for the Ghanaians. He wants our money for the Ghanaians. No, the man spoke about the atrocities to victims of colonization and enslavement. It's not just about Africa. It's about anyone Black.
It's about enslavement. What do people get?
Has suffered. Everybody Black across this earth, whether in America, whether in Europe, wherever, everybody Black is a victim of what the whites did to the continent. Period. That is it.
It's really just that simple. And what I don't get is, can folks really not see how you are doing the Europeans bidding for them to be like nah, you're trying to take our shit and infighting, instead of being like, actually, this is a resolution that has been semi-passed type of thing. We can now ramp up our causes. It doesn't have to be going against. It doesn't have to be theft. That is such a European way of seeing things. That is literally white pathology being practiced out. And I'm seeing folks even writing it in the chat now. And it's like, please find a few brain cells to fuse together to actually be able to understand that atrocities were done around the world, are still being done around the world. That 1 trillion or however many trillion you're talking about in 20 something years that has gone to Africa has mainly gone to Africa for American bases so that they are able to bomb and target folks around the world. Like, let's not be like Americans are giving aid. Americans don't give aid to their own people, let alone you're going to be doing that for other folks in other nations. That is not how the beast of America works. And you guys are in the belly of the beast, but somehow you want to attach yourself to your government 1 minute and be like, oh, they're oppressing us the next. Get on code. They are oppressing the world. Everybody needs to be like, no, now it stops. Pay up in any ways that it works. And I would say, first and foremost, every Black person or African or however you want to call yourselves needs to not pay taxes. That's the first thing that they can do.
Saying that Mahama's not from America, why don't we talk about the Caribbean and Africa? He was in, I think they were in. I don't want to address every stupid comment because it's stupid, because it is stupid. But do you understand that? Imagine if he just said what, again, as people have remixed without watching the video or reading the transcript, if he just said what the atrocities done to Africa, because he knows there are people of the diaspora. That's why Ghana and other African countries have done the open borders to other Blacks. That's why they're saying, get citizenship, come home, reconnect with us. We're not trying to do this on our own. We're not trying to exclude you. The misinformation, I don't understand how you lot, as Nana said, and as far as saying, you can believe in misinformation and oppression and as what's happening to you guys. And it's happening in the UK. I've got a story on the top. It's happening in the UK, the banning of books, the banning of information so that they can come off as the great white hope leaders that they think that they represent. That is what's happening. So don't you think that the biggest thing that's causing us to argue like this is because of the white mix-up, supremacy, propaganda train, and you lot are buying into it. Now is not the time for you to be giving talking points, as we talk about, to the people who are like, yeah, look, you see, they don't need to be together.
Yes, you're so stupid. Coming from your British accents, like you probably don't have an American accent. You're so dumb. But it's funny. It's funny that you keep on talking and showing your stupidity, because also there are a lot of you out there. So I understand it. There are still people that co-sign the rhetoric that somehow Black Americans were the most hard done by and need the most reparations. And even when you talk about reparations, that they spoke about it first. That to me is the peak Americanism way of thinking. It beggars belief. It's like bombing Iran and being like, Iran, you can't bomb us back. And then when they do, you are the biggest terrorists in the world.
Okay, look,
honestly,
someone has said, I wish this wasn't a Brit echo chamber. We can break convention and maybe do a town hall if someone's got something simple to say, or we move on. But Mad Jimmy, thank you very much. Low-key doing Divide and Conquer in 2026 is crazy. Kevin, thank you again. Aid for Africa is an extortion racket to loot the wealth of Africa's natural resources for Western imperialism by economic hitman. It's like, I don't understand.
It's so simple. If you see the system, you would be able to see how it runs. Nobody is giving aid for no reason. They are underpaying, severely underpaying for the resources that they are taking. That somebody earlier on said Africa needs China to actually build them up. Why do they not have the technology? Who is raping them of the resources to make the technology? Who actually puts in place sanctions if you try and get the technology to do for your country what it needs? Who does that? Usually America and Britain. Like, let's use our brains. Nobody is in economic dire straits because they don't have the wherewithal, the brain power to actually do it. They keep them there through sanctions. And the fact that we have it living in front of us with Cuba, I don't know how you guys aren't getting this. Like this is what they do.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Oh my God, it's weird. Look, if you've got something strong to say, we'll drop a link later.
No, you've got to pay. You
have
No,
to pay.
no,
I'm not having
you got to pay, and also no, you don't engage with idiots.
No, you got to pay, and it's
pay.
over
£10. Yeah,
convert it £10, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, to come up and chat. You got to pay.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Anyway.
exactly what it is. Because you guys are talking madness. Someone black has actually said, it's absolutely right that America abstained and said, America said no. This is a black person saying it's absolutely right, because why are they attaching to everything that we've just said? Everything. The video is there. Let me find the link, and you lot can have the video. You Google it, Mahama's speech at the UN. Watch it, every last bit, and tell me how that means that they're attaching. Do you think that Mahama's going to come to America and say, okay, when the reparations come through, can we make a blockage here and re-divert it to Ghana? Do you think that's what's going to happen? Come on, that'd be stupid.
I'm literally, Shay, you press the button that it's got a dollar sign on it. You press that and you pay money in $19.99, please, and then you can come up and chat.
Oh, wow.
We'll drop a link for you. That's all. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Guys, nobody is saying another African scam, pay you to defend me. Nobody is defending anybody. Yeah. All it is for the world to recognize that what took place is the gravest injustice against humans ever. That is it. And then from there, when we can get to that base level that is understood, because of racism, it hasn't been. So you have to get the base level so that everybody can agree on this was, and then you can start doing packages for how you are now, that you have for let's put it down to 600 years. You have oppressed a set of people. Now you need to make it better. That's basically what is out there. It's not, oh, it all has to come to West Africa. It's not that. It's for everybody now to be like, look, this is how it's affected my people. This is how it's affected my people. And then we all try and get onto a 11-player field so that we can all be prospering on this earth together. The fact that you want it to be like the Black Americans first is very American, is very Western, very European of you.
It's weird, to say that, why are we tying to your plans? It's Black people.
Listen,
wait. Tying to your plans because you haven't got. There aren't any. Mahama didn't read the plans that you guys have. He didn't say these plans that we are going to do are your plans only. Don't you think around the world, people have been fighting for this? This is why this man is doing it from where he's from. Around the world, Black people have been fighting to have this recognized because it's been a global pandemic, epidemic of disgusting racism and supremacy that has destroyed us. It's not just your fight. So don't you think that everyone's education has been dismantled? Everyone's social freedoms have been oppressed. Black people around the world get arrested and incarcerated more than their white counterparts or wherever they live. They get killed. We have had cases of people being killed. We have cases of police brutality. We have cases of people not being able to get jobs because of their skin color, because their name, they see a name on a sheet and they don't hire them because their name's too Black sounding. We have the same racism everywhere. The only thing that we don't have in the UK, that we didn't have chattel slavery, but the British slavers had it in the Caribbean. They were doing it in another country. That's all they did.
They outsourced it. That's all they did. They just didn't live there. That's all they did.
We didn't have the soil or the environment to do it in this country, because trust me, they would have done it in this country if we had the climate for it.
But let's not forget that during that time they had their colonies were in America as well.
Exactly.
It's not like they just didn't live there. That's it.
America didn't even exist. This is the whole thing. It was European. It was British land. It was seen as that's why you had to have the Civil War and against the British, because it was theirs. Same shit. This is what they do. They go places, take human bodies. This is what they do. And this actually does hurt my heart. To be fighting with other Africans over this is so crazy. Idiotic. It's actually pissing me off. It really is pissing me off.
Yeah.
That's actually what fundamental.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, we're arguing over the fact that the enslavement of Black people was wrong.
Yeah.
We're arguing about it. Because that's what it is, essentially. That's what the fucking resolution said. It's the greatest atrocity in the human race. That's what it said.
That's all it is.
What's the argument there? What is the argument? Whether you're Caribbean, whether you're African, whether you're American, whether you're South American, whether you're... What's the argument there?
All right, hold on.
It's madness.
Mad Jimmy, thank you very much. The whole of Africa was effectively colonized. Gosh is back. He's with his $19.99. Thank you very much for the donation. Just keep the Black American historical narrative timeline off the world stage. We don't need an African as our spokesperson, respectfully. That doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't get.
It doesn't make
what
any sense.
Okay, so
do you
guys think that slavery was an atrocity just for you guys? Like the term slavery, transatlantic slavery, is just a Black American thing. Is that what it is that you're saying? Because then I could understand you saying like, oh no, it doesn't make sense to talk about it because it's our thing to talk about. You do know that there are people in South America, there are Caribbeans, there are people in West Africa, there are people in Britain, there were people in Portugal that were all involved in this trade in Angola that took place. They all suffered in different ways. There are families that 1 minute they were there and the whole family was gone and maybe the mum was left. All of her kids were kidnapped in the night and she still couldn't leave African soil. She doesn't even know where her kids went. That carries on. That generational trait. There were whole villages. They were there 1 minute. Next time, folks are going to visit their families, gone. Like, that's a lot of trauma. And then you're colonialized, and then you're being systematically removed from your religion, your names, and given a whole different set of practices in your homeland, though, where you don't even know where these people were taken to. You don't actually know what has happened, why they have come along. Like, come on, like, use your brains. Just have a bit of empathy. That's what I'm saying. This is very, very white pathology to not have any empathy for the other people that suffered under this same system.
And someone is saying he just let Black Americans speak on the Black American history and experience. What we're talking about here right now is the enslavement of Black people, which is not limited to just Black Americans. So we can talk on it because it's a global issue. So we can talk on it. It is not, we're not just talking about Black American history. When you talk about enslavement and the transatlantic slave trade, it is not just Black American. It isn't.
Kevin, thank you.
Simple. Is it not them that are coming to our discussion to tell us not to talk about it?
Weird.
We are not going to Black Americans and being like, oh, you're not a part of this. So, you know, this is gaslighting. That is gaslighting 101. You are trying to change the parameters. We are having a global issue conversation. And you guys keep on bombarding comment sections, being like, stop talking about Black Americans. We are not. If you don't want to be a part of the conversation, kindly piss off. It's that simple. Really is.
Kevin, thank you. Auntie, I just sent you a little email. They are all Malcolm X small quotes on tax dollars in Africa work. Please read it to educate the US audience. And then if one of you guys want to go and find that.
And also, if you didn't know, Malcolm X was of Grenadian descent, Caribbean.
But let's see, we pick and choose who you want to respect. Shay TBD, thank you very much. Thank you, Shay. Trauma often dictates response, not always intelligence. Absolutely. And
that's fair.
That's very fair. And we're not claiming to be as we always said at the top, we're not the experts, but we definitely know this. So even with the woman in the clip that I showed that said Americans tend to know their history, unfortunately, during these discussions, it seems to be not. And it's not. I will give you a little bit of grace and say we understand because they've worked super hard to suppress education. And that is what Mahama was referencing. The fact that they're suppressing information and education on a global stage, it's being more spoken about what's happening in America. That's the one thing that you guys, we keep trying to say to you, that your news, Black and white Americans world over, is the news that's kind of pumped out to the whole world in dominance. The biggest, baddest Western country has the most, dominates the news cycles of everything, whether you're white or Black, all that news dominates. So yes, more news about your history and the things that have been done to you is more easy to grab. I can get more history on what goes on in America than I can get on really what happened in the UK, really what happened in Brazil, really what happened in Portugal, really what happens in France. There's a lot of untapped history and information that they have suppressed purposefully. So that's another reason, if you want to understand why, that maybe your history comes up first or in the front of people's conversations, because there's more information about what's been done to you than others. And people use that as a way to explain what also happened as a reference point, because there's a lot.
I don't even think we've done that. And I honestly,
we haven't done that. I'm just saying
what I'm saying is gaslighting. That is not what takes place. People talk about slavery or any type of Black experience, and you will definitely get Black Americans in the comments being like, no, why are you talking about us? And it's like, it's not just you that this happened to, you know. We all have our own effects. This is not stealing, tethering to your history. Our histories are actually connected because it's the same forces that went around the world and did the same things. It's like if Indian people are talking about what the British did in India, I can't then be like, hey, they did the same in Ghana. Why are you talking about it? No, it happened to you guys. It happened to Ghana. It happened in Nigeria. It happened in Pakistan. It happened in Bangladesh. Yes, they did the same things all over. No one people has the right to be like, this is our history. It's our history. We are all connected. And if you don't want to be connected, cool, in it. Because some of you say that you're not even African. And it's actually okay. There is evidence that there were Black people in America. It's all cool.
Goes, gaslighting is Black American.
I knew you were gonna. That's what I was laughing at. That's what I was laughing at.
Let me read Kevin's. Thank you, Kevin. We just found it. I mean, yes, Malcolm X on the relationship between U.S. tax dollars and U.S. foreign aid to back foreign puppet heads of state in Africa. Thank you. They take Tshombe and they prop him up with American dollars. They glorify his image with the American press. What's the first thing he does? Now Tshombe is a murderer. He has been hired by the United States to rule the Congo. Yes, that's all it boils down to. You can put in a whole lot of pretty language, but we don't want pretty language for a nasty situation. He's a murderer who has been hired by the United States government and is being paid with your tax dollars by the United States government. So basically, then they take Tshombe. You've heard of Tshombe. He's the worst African that was ever born, the lowest type that was ever born. He's a murderer himself. He's the murderer of Lumumba, the former prime minister and the first and only rightful prime minister of the Congo. He's an international. He's a murderer with an international stature as a murderer. Yet the United States government went and got Tshombe in Spain and put him in as a head of the Congolese government. And it's a long story. I don't want to read it all because it's just me reading loads of words. But basically, in a nutshell, what Malcolm X is talking about is the way that, yes, America is involved in the destabilization of Africa. So though, as the chick referenced before, saying that we weren't involved in the slave trade and America was involved in the slave trade in Africa, they are still continuously involved in the destabilization of Africa, where every time you get behind a dictator or a despot leader or a crazy leader that is somehow ruining Africa and making mad trade deals, a lot of the times there's an American and a Brit trying to instigate and navigate that. Why do you think we have civil wars and mineral wars going on in Africa now, in African countries now? Because of the instigators of the West. America is not, hands are not clean, they're extremely bloody, and you guys are defending it. You're wild.
Shay, can you see the link now? I've been trying to put it through. I don't know. Can you guys see it? The invite somebody link.
If you can see,
is it in the chat?
And we're going to wrap this up because we've got lots of stuff to get through. Farrah's take and
going through to the chat. Can one of you put it into the chat on YouTube? For some reason, for me, it will only put it in. You just go to present or invite, and on invite it will say the invite.
Says you can see it, or they can see it. After Shay makes a point. Okay. Yes, it's on the chat on YouTube.
I think it was Shay and G something that put it in. That paid money. Where is it? Where is it? Shay and Goj, if they wanted to come up, they can come up.
Okay. So I don't want to
obviously Kevin, because Kevin's paid a hell of a lot of money. Kevin, if you wanted to come up as well.
Exactly. But in the meantime, whilst you guys are figuring out, let's move on to Farrah's take. Farrah, take it away.
I don't think we should start another section because then we're going to have to come back to it.
Okay, I was wondering because Are they joining?
Yeah, see, I see the link.
Okay, cool. You sign up with traffickers. What the hell? Goj is crying off, saying that they think that this topic will have me acting disrespectful out of passion. I'll give my donations for another. I mean, you can't speak without being rude, Goj. I mean, that's fine.
But thank you for donating anyway. Thank you so much. I mean, Shay, you asked for the link. We put the link in there. We do have other sections. So if you're going to come up and chat, so we carry on talking, come up and chat.
We want to move on, so we're giving you one more minute. If you don't join, then we have to move on, and we won't be revisiting the topic for today. But undoubtedly, for the rest of our lives, we'll be talking about this because people are crazy. Lil Shine, you just missed a whole bunch of nonsense. We're talking about the UN reparations discussion, and it's gone into, as you can expect, a lot of. Oh, here we go. Shay's coming. All right. What? Oh, you're in Qatar. Okay. Are we bringing you up on the stage, yeah?
Yeah. If you press her in. There we go. Hello, Shay.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
How are you guys?
We're really well.
Thanks for this interesting debate.
Yeah, we're tired, but yes. What would you like to say?
Oh, it was just kind of like, I know you guys are discussing why do African Americans, Black Americans, whatever folks want to label themselves, because our labels change all the time. Mm-hmm. But why do they feel centered and triggered by this conversation?
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they feel, and I could put myself under the umbrella because a long part of my lineage is, stuck in the United States as a result of this conversation. Mm-hmm. The reason why a lot of the triggering comes into play is because most Black Americans have felt negatively traumatized and impacted by the situation and pushed out by Africa and barred from the African experience or the African engagement in our trauma. So when we hear, I'm not saying it from the perspective of, I think that we're the only ones that have dealt with slavery, because, we even look at the Arabian and the Eastern African slave trade and all that. Some of us are aware of that. Some of us have moved on into, understanding all of that. But as it relates to the Black American, the average Black American that's not clued in, that hasn't taken the time, that hasn't done the work to look at the rest of the globe, mm-hmm. Most of us feel targeted even so much by Africans.
What does you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah. Them over there. They're not African. They're not African. They don't have culture. They don't have this. They're not part of us. They're not that. And I'm not saying that it's the truth. I'm just saying that's what they feel.
Right. How does that work? I guess what I would like to understand, because as British, African or Caribbean, there's mm-hmm. an element of when we go back home, we know we've grown in a different space. So when we go back home, we are also seen as different and other, and we're not authentic.
But you can go back home. That's the key.
No.
That's
so what I'm saying, that feeling of maybe being a bit different is we understand that. But no one has said, I don't think it's been collectively said or communicated from Africa, the continent of Africa, to Black Americans specifically, you guys are not welcome in this country. There has been a big we'll call it a misrepresentation of Africa for a very long time. Before there was a long time, it's only in recent decades that people are even claiming Africa and being proud to be from Africa, because there was so much negative information. No, I'm just saying that on a global, being an African myself, direct African myself, the disrespect that Africans have received, where people don't even admit that they're African or want to reflect that they could possibly be the same as an African. So the thing that you guys can't come, I can't speak for, I don't know when you can pinpoint to a time when there was absolute communication from Africa that you guys are not welcome. That's why I just want to.
No, not a welcome. Okay. You're not part of us. Like you're saying, for example, when you go home, you can go to Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, you know, those West African nations, Kenya, Ethiopia, because like right now I'm in Qatar. I work with a lot of Ugandans, Kenyans, you know, different Africans. I'm building a home in Ghana right now. I'm watching the conversation with the AES, the Burkina, and the API and all that. So I'm clued in on what's going on. The issue is the identifiable isolation of Black Americans feeling like, oh, we are shunned by Caribbeans. Caribbeans don't want to be Black American. We are shunned by European Africans. We are shunned by continental Africans from the perspective of when there's, say for instance, from just the cultural perspective, like the cohesion outcasts us. So in conversation, say for instance, we're at a conference. Right. Say for instance, all of us are mixed up and we're at a conference. Caribbeans, European Africans, and continental Africans tend to clue together before they will even reach out to incorporate the Black American. And I'm just saying it from
one example, because the thing is, I hear this a lot, but I can give you references to how Africans have been denigrated in media for decades. So just even comedians that
no, I totally agree with you.
I know because we have references that we can all say this just in fufu, African boo-boo, like we can say this has been said of us. Can you just give me any one reference where you have media that was absolutely portraying Black Americans as lesser than or not included? Yeah, please.
It's coded into foreign policy to the perspective of when the average person comes to the United States, irregardless of Africa, when they come to the United States, one of the things that was told in between the 30s and probably the 70s was, don't go socialize with Black Americans because they're this, and this. Don't move to Black American communities because there's this, and this. So that is where there's one instance of what you're saying about how Black people have been marginalized on the broader scale. And that's to everybody. If you're Indian and you come into the United States, don't go over there with the Black Americans. All of them are crackheads.
That's a broad term. That's white supremacy. I want specifically Black Africans where we have shown this in media.
I'm a Kata. I'm a Brony. I'm also called Burger. I'm also called all these things that Africans call me.
And I
in their songs, all of that. I mean, it's there. I'm not saying it's correct.
No, but what song? Like what? Because this is what AK literally just said. As somebody born here, and when I go to Ghana, I too am called a Brony. It's like foreign or white. It's like you are not from here.
I know what it means.
So that's
the same thing. But that's similar to me. Wait. That's similar to me as a Black American calling you, for example, and I don't do it, but calling you a Black African booty scratcher.
Yes.
When in my mind, it's the same blockage. Social blockage as me calling you African booty scratcher and you calling me a kata. I don't know what that means, and you don't know what it means to a Black American. But
I think I think what happens for us is the broad implication that is how all Africans and all Caribbeans feel. And I know, but as you're arguing that, even when you use the conference reference, that because we always try to explain to Black Americans is the way that Black American culture has influenced all of us, has been so there's I really find it hard pressed to even not believe as in ignoring your experiences, your direct experiences, but on a bigger scale, Black people around the world really have a love and reverence for Black Americans in general. Just for the culture alone, we've all grown up with this culture being seeped into our culture, inspiring some, not all parts of our culture. So to say that we generally wouldn't include a Black American, we know that even in the UK, the minute you've got an American accent, you're clear. The same way that when you guys are talking about the Brits going over to America and getting jobs, Americans coming to the UK, they are revered and celebrated, and in awe. They could come and say they could come with a whole new persona, we believe, because of their stature and respect and status when it comes to who they are and what they've come from. So I think there's something in the ground that's like something that's being repeated over and over again that's not actually true to every single person, and it's definitely not true on a powerful scale. Because the fact that you're working in Qatar, the fact that you're building a home in Ghana, goes to show that there might be some cultural isms and differences, but you are still able to go home. And it wasn't Black people that stopped you guys from knowing, it wasn't Africans or Caribbeans that stopped you from knowing your history. It was white supremacy. And that's what we find frustrating. White supremacy removed education and information and perpetuated the misinformation. But yet, no one stopped you guys. I'm not saying in a personal attack. No one stopped Black Americans from getting on a plane and going to Africa to see for themselves. No African country said you cannot enter this country because you are American. No one said that on a powerful thing. There was a propaganda tool to make every Black American, especially, hate or be embarrassed of Africa. Same way they did it to Caribbeans, to be embarrassed.
No, what I'm getting from the full conversation is that the conversations need to be had. Yes, because. And I didn't want to come in and knock what you guys were doing. The only part that I did feel kind of jaded about was the fact that, brain cells and stupidity. And it's not that. It's triggering because, like, for example, if you could have two women that have been raped, but you start saying something negative about rape in a conversation. Grape in a conversation, and one female will start bawling out crying. And the other one will be tougher than nails. So what happens is, as this conversation with President Mahama has come to the forefront, and I'm sure there were, people behind the scenes that discussed this with him or whatever, the vast majority of Black Americans were like, where did this come from? Oh my gosh, they were on that side based on the informational propaganda and limitations that draw the boards or the lines between all of us, because Black Americans are missing a whole bunch of information, Caribbeans are missing a whole bunch of information, Black Brits are missing a whole bunch of information, the Windrush people are missing information. So all of us are missing pieces of information, and all of us have our emotional and our conditioned response to certain things. So when we're in America and we're feeling like, these people, they don't care about us. We're going like the George Floyd situation, this, and Africans are just interrupt like, whatever.
I just want to come just quickly. This is literally just one sentence, but I feel like the grape analogy is a great one, and it would have landed if it wasn't the two people that have all gone through this. And one of them is like, my trauma is worse than yours, and you talking about it is taking it from me. And that is what I find too many Black Americans do. It's not I have trauma and somebody is like, no, you don't. It's when we talk about the trauma that has happened, you will get bombarded by Black Americans saying, hang on, mine is worse. You are
the trauma Olympics.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is myopic. And you need brain cells to stop that, because that is white supremacy in action. That is what
we need communal information and education. That's what I think. Because what happens is Africans, like in my time, because I've been going to Africa since 2017, which is fairly new, but speaking to the average Ghanaian person, I get into a taxi and I do this all the time. I'm like, where do you think I'm from? I do this even here in Qatar, because there's, the racial or the nationalities here are all mixed up. Where do you think I'm from? And at no point will any of the drivers say that I'm from the United States. No. It takes them 15 African countries to say that I'm from the United States. So the information level is what's missing. the education is missing. And that's how we feel in the United States. Like, these people don't even, they have no clue that we're over here existing.
Can I bring
Zero.
Farrah in, because she's had
Yeah,
something
go
to say for a while, and then we'll come back to
sorry.
that point. Go on, Farrah.
No. I think for me, what is key here is that it is you. I mean, you've all said it in one way or another. It's the lack of information. But what I find frustrating is this divide and conquer thing. We are all saying here today that transatlantic slave trade, because this is what we started talking about, was the greatest atrocity to humankind. Right? We don't need to start getting into who suffered more, because that's the headline, isn't it? Unfortunately, what's happened to Black Americans, to Black Caribbeans, to Black British Caribbeans, Black Africans, what has happened is we have all been pitted against each other. When we are in this conversation and we're talking about my trauma was worse than yours, my trauma was, no, it wasn't. That is us dividing and conquer. We are literally continuing what white supremacy has started. When they unchained us, they didn't unchain us mentally. What they did was they carried on with divide and conquer. And the fact that we are here in 2026 still talking about who suffered the greatest, rather than just saying Black people globally, we all suffered, because that's the key. In America, you said that sometimes you feel othered by or Caribbeans or Africans that came over. Caribbeans or Africans that came over were told not to mix with you, right? In England, in England, Caribbeans were told not to mix with Africans. Africans were told not to mix with Caribbeans. That is what they did. That was just yet another tool that they use to divide and conquer, because they don't want us to unify. And I think that is what we're trying to say. Let's get rid of that fucking Olympic shit, and let's all look at the greater picture, which is transatlantic slave trade was atrocity. That's it. That's all it is. We don't need to get into the isms and schisms about who suffered most, because that is the secondary thing. That's the secondary part of it.
And then the conversation between us is what needs to happen now, as you're doing, Shay. And I respect your time and your graciousness to even speak about it and be open to different conversations, because your point is not invalid. And that's the thing that we even spoken on it. We've said that any immigrant in America, that Black immigrant, whether you're Caribbean or African, and come in with preconceived notions and ignorances and maybe section yourself off because of ridiculous misinformation, they're a problem too.
Absolutely.
We do not come into America, think that we're going to integrate into a Black community and then be ignorant to the Black people that built the country that we've come to. And
let's be clear. Let's be clear, right? It is the white supremacy. If you look at who voted against and who abstained, these are countries that are sitting within white supremacy. These are countries, again, like I said before, that don't want us to unify. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now the thing is, the reason why they don't want to admit that it was the greatest tragedy is because if they do that, it opens up a whole can of worms. They don't want to admit it. Precisely. So we need to understand the reasons behind this. It is just yet another tool to separate us. That's it.
And I think with this announcement, it doesn't mean to say that Black Americans can't say, okay, take this ruling and then apply it to what you need. Black Brits need to take this ruling and apply it to what we need. Africans need to take the ruling and apply it to what they need. But on code, we should all be like, yes, this is.
We should all be like, this was a problem. And the other reason why they don't want to admit it is because they understand that slavery, the enslavement of Black people, has fucking made them be the superpower that they are. They didn't do this on their own. America was built off the backs of Black people. We know that. We're not dumb. We know that. The Caribbeans funded the fucking European countries. The Caribbean slaves funded that shit. It was built off of the backs of Black people. Africa, being dissected and colonized, has funded the white supremacy across the European continent. We know that. This is why they're against it. That's why they're abstaining. That's why they're voting against it.
Yeah.
I'm tracking everything you guys are saying.
Interesting though. I find it interesting we have been shunned and othered. I find that is something that I really am going to study more, human-wise, how the trauma has culminated in that as an identity that grows so palpable that even though we are all talking fine now, within the chats, people are still saying, you're not hearing what she's saying. I think that is, there's a something in there, and honestly, I can only think of when you're talking to people who have gone through an apartheid, they seem to have that. When you speak to Israelis, they have that view that everybody is attacking them, and that's really it's strange to me when I think of how much Black American media all of us in the diaspora have consumed, that there is still a thing of we have been shunned. Like my head can't get around the two. I don't understand how.
But I do think that's what they've been told. I do think that goes back down to what they've been told, that we don't want to engage with them. I do
Shay,
think.
Can we bring you in for last comments, please? You're on mute. You're mute, hon.
Oh, sorry. It's not necessarily what we've been told; it's what we experience. When Africans, when Caribbeans, when folks, when anyone comes to the United States, Black Americans are the rug that have made. We're the road that y'all walk on in order to go to school. You won your lottery. You got your scholarship. You're coming in on DEI. You're coming in on all these social, things, and all of that work was done by Black Americans. However, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying this is what it is. And that's where the disconnect comes for the Black American, who feels like we're being stepped on and we're not giving any credit, any acknowledgement. I'm not even gonna say credit, just any acknowledgement. It's like, oh, they're over there. They're not taking advantage of all of these opportunities. They don't have enough brain cells. They're not intelligent enough. And that's the sensation that they have, along with the systems that are in place. Because there's all of these lettered agencies that are out there that continue to perpetuate the propaganda that the young lady with the blonde hair, she mentioned. These systems are in place that perpetuate all of this. But at the same time, we're being trampled on as people are coming in.
Okay,
so we feel all of the trauma and we continue to be. What does it look like?
Yeah, what is the thing? What is the acknowledgement?
How do we acknowledge? I think
what is that? What is the practice that you feel should have been done, that new immigrants that are African, whether it's the Caribbean or from mainland or even the Black Brits, what is the reverence that should have been? What's the practice that should have been done that hasn't been done?
Similar, I mean, just on a baseline, for example, I'll give you because you asked me earlier about one media example, like Akon, for example. One of the things that he said was Africans do it better and Black Americans don't have culture. Yet he's in America using all of the tools set up by Black Americans in the music industry to become who he is.
Yeah.
So that's an example. And then he goes home to perpetuate that amongst his peers and his family and everybody else. And then all of the other, artists that come behind him.
About to say that has been dispelled. Akon never said that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's not, it can't change. But what I'm saying, that's what was perpetuated. That's one of the situations that's perpetuated.
I think it goes back to, it all boils down to misinformation. Because at the end of the day, you can have, of course, like Shay, you could have African immigrant neighbors who look over you and the parents are like, don't play with the Black American over there because she's the da-da-da-da. That can happen as an individual experience. Same way that the Black immigrant can go to school, get called African and get shunned because they don't speak this Black American language. That happened as well. Caribbean with the accent, that happened as well. There were Caribbean into wars when they came over. There's books that document the wars between Black Americans and Caribbean immigrants at the time when they came over. All those things happened. So it's a two-way street. I definitely with the coming in
about a thing not being done. So if I can say people need to come into my house, they need to say hello to me. What is the thing that isn't happening that keeps this going? If we can actually name it, then we know it isn't something that is a residing feeling within us, but actually
it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing because now, especially now with the agencies, they're saying, okay, like we have FBA, we have ADOS, we have all these different groups, and those groups are being fueled and funded by these other people. They're literally being funded by these other people. But what the issue is, like, for example, I don't speak any other language but English. It's not my fault. I had nothing to do with that. But when I go to greet, and I want to speak specifically to African people, not, or at Africa, not too direct, negatively towards. But if I'm speaking to an African person, it's like, where are you from? Who are you? You don't know who you are. You don't know this about your, and it's like, it's not my fault. It's the victimization factor.
Can I ask you a question?
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. You said you're in Ghana, you're doing stuff in Ghana, right?
Yes, Central
This
region.
experience that you're saying that you have, is that every time you meet an African person, that's what they say to you? Is that what you're?
No, I'm talking about in America.
So in America, every time an American meets an African person, that's what they're told.
I'll say 60%. When you have the conversation, it's probably 60 or 70% of the time. It's like, you don't know where you're from. You don't know. You don't know your roots.
Sorry, how did that conversation come about? Because this is what we hear this all the time. I'm just trying to think.
The first question, because they see us and they think that we're African. When I look at you, when I look at another brown person, the assumption is that person is also African because they look similar to me.
Yeah.
So then the question is, where are you from?
But that's
they're thinking my response is going to be an African nation, and to me, I feel for me, I feel like, yo, don't you know about the transatlantic slave trade?
Okay, wait.
When an African guy comes to a podium and says, I'm coming here to talk about the transatlantic slave trade, and this African person just came to me and acts like, but Shay, you cannot be born here for the last 400 years in America. It happens all the time.
No, but I think but again, you're talking about a political leader who absolutely should know the history of the slave trade. And
no. I'm not saying that the political.
No. I'm responding to what you're saying. I know, like in the interaction of people on a day-to-day basis, and again, I do struggle with the fact that every African might say to you, where are you from? But also, we do that to ourselves in the UK and in Ghana and everything, because even Ghanaians will be like, what tribe are you from? Where are you from? So that common where you from is a kind of bonding thing between blacks, I believe. And so if I say to you where you're from, and if I'm as ignorant to say you don't know where you're from in a derogatory way, or is it an exploration of conversation? Because I think sometimes when people recant stories, they remove the nuances, they remove the depth of the conversation. And it always sounds like you've got a bunch of Africans that just tell Americans every day, you lot don't know where you're from, as if to say, there's no knowledge at all it's impossible for them to be in America and not know. There might be some people that might be like, are you asking, like, do you know where you're from? Have you done your DNA test? Is the conversation broader, or is every African this wicked person that comes and says, you don't know where you're from and you're dumb? I find it hard to understand that, but if that's what you're saying,
we do too.
I'm sorry.
Because it's like,
I'm sorry. I don't believe that it is as high as you're saying. I don't. I'm not sitting here and saying that people don't get told that. They do. But I highly doubt that 70% of Black Americans are told every single time they engage with an African, you don't know your history. I don't think it's that high. I'm not sitting here and saying that's not the case, because as a Caribbean, I know that I've experienced certain things too. But I'm just saying I don't think it's 70%. I think no stats.
I haven't had. I will say I haven't had a single African person say to me, "Oh, well, that our history is a sordid history." They haven't tried to console they haven't said anything, to level the situation. Okay. It happens all the time.
Is it said to you in a derogatory way? Is it said to you in an ignorant way and like you're stupid? Is it every interaction?
It's not said to me in a derogatory way, but it leaves a bar. Like, I didn't meet a bar. It's like, for example, when you go to a conference, like I was saying, and everybody there are Ivy League. And they say, oh, what school did you go to? And you say, oh, I'm a high school dropout. Then that person now has a mark for you. Because like you said, when someone comes to you in the UK and says to you, oh, where are you from? You say, oh, I'm from Ghana. I was raised in the UK. Then you said it's a bonding question. They can't bond to us. So therefore the conversation changes. And then it's like, oh, she's not one of us because we can't bond with her because she doesn't fit into the category. Just like if I walk up to a person and I say, "Oh, what school did you go to? What blah 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 are you?" and you can't respond with anything, they'll say, "Oh, she doesn't fit into our pedigree. She doesn't fit into the pedigree."
I guess you know what I'm hearing. This is really interesting. I was really trying to get to gather where it comes from, and I actually do see the self-esteem lack, because everything you said was a lot of assumptions, and we all do it just as humans. We all assume people are coming from different angles that they may not even be that they are coming from, and I do feel that there has to be an internal feeling of a lack that is then reflected in the question, where it's like, no, that I'm not accepted as a working class person. I can have it when I'm talking to somebody that is upper class and they ask you about education, and then I start going into a reel in my own mind as to my lack in, I went to this university and they're from Oxford. That's a small way of what I'm talking about. This is hundreds of years of a disconnection, where sometimes as an African, you may actually just be asking, and the answer is America and where you're from in America, and that is it. But everything you said seemed like a real jump to an assumption that they are looking down on you.
No, I'm not saying that they're looking down. I'm saying that's there's a bar drawn, because like AK mentioned, when you're asking amongst people who can respond, there's an automatic bond, there's an automatic exception. For example, I'm prior military, and I have a certain sensation when I find other people that are military and when I find people that are not military. So when I run into people that are not military, I know that there's certain things that they haven't experienced in life, right? And it's not because of my self-esteem, higher or lower. It's just because I know that they've experienced certain things that other people haven't. So for example, when AK mentioned, it's normal for us to ask where people are from, just like it's normal for us to ask where people are from in the States. Yeah. But if I feel, and like I said, there's all these agencies that are out here trying to disconnect and muddy the waters. Yeah. But if I feel like I'm African, and I want to meet another African, and when that person asks me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from New York, I'm from Long Island. And they say, oh, but where are your family from? And I'm like, they're from Virginia. Oh, but where's your grandfather from? And I'm like, well, he's from, Maryland. And they're looking at me like, you need to stop talking because you don't fit into this category. And then they continue the rest of the conference not to communicate to me. Okay, Shay, I think it's not me projecting that. It's not my projection.
You know what I would say to that? I
can continue to try to put myself into that bubble. I can continue to go to the African table. I can continue to do that, but they have made that bar. They have said, oh, she doesn't fit into this category.
No, I think, I'm not saying no. In some instances, I'm very sure that someone will be like, you can't join us because you're not one of us. That happens to all of us in different capacities. But then also, there's also, what about the Black American hearing that and deciding for themselves that I don't fit? And that's not what the African was intending. That's what Nana's saying. It's sometimes the self-inflicted disconnect, because the person might just be asking. And also sometimes, if we're talking about projection and assumption, that African is trying to maybe even welcome you in by saying, where are you from? What's your lineage? Actually, you could be one of us. But if the person's like, because we get it sometimes, there's some people in the UK like, yeah, I'm just from here. I am just from here. And we have it with the FBAs and the adults movements that say, we're not even African. We don't want nothing to do with Africans. And let's not pretend that that is something that would have happened to Black Caribbean and African immigrants. We are nothing to do with you. We are Black Americans. We don't want nothing to do with you. We don't want to associate with you. So that assumption is a two-way thing, a self-imposed thing, because there could be an African saying the same thing. I went to a Black American and said, I'm from Ghana. And they were like, well, you're not like us. Or they projected something. And then I removed myself and said, they're not welcoming me into that space because they said that I'm different. This conversation is a two-way, three-way thing. And it boils down to what Farrah said in the beginning, that the more we keep having these conversations or don't have them in the right way, like we're having today, which is very helpful, it's going to keep perpetuating. And those adults and FBA movements are infiltrated by the alphabet communities and those things, that's a problem. And we keep saying it, that you guys are allowing yourself to be puppets, the same way some African leaders are allowed to be puppets, some Caribbean leaders are allowed to be puppets, and some American icons or speaking in the forefront are being puppeted by MAGA and them type of things there. That is a problem for us all.
So I'm gonna get off of this because a lot of people are getting on the comments. But my whole point was that it's not necessarily a lack of only intelligence. There's a lot of trauma associated with the Black American experience because of the identification of what the transatlantic slave trade was. And those people who feel triggered by that are triggered by it because of how their emotional conditioning was associated with it. And when an African person who shows up says, we're in the middle of the reparations conversation in the United States, when this African president comes and says, hey, we're gonna do this from the African perspective. And it's like, yeah, but y'all haven't engaged us. Not to say that it wasn't, but the layman, the regular average guy feels like there was no engagement of the Black American person in that resolution or in the development of the resolution. I'm saying
I do get it. I do get it. Honestly, I feel like this is really important. This is good. It's first steps. But also, I think the reciprocity in the conversation needs to be really at the forefront of everybody's mind. And Americans, and the fact that it isn't, our comments are not being bombarded by people from Ghana or Nigeria. It generally is Black Americans that so there has to be an engagement. There has to be more of I'm saying this and I'm going to hear a response. And that's the thing. But sometimes it really is, we can get caught up in our own trauma and victimhood because you're not hearing the response to it and taking on, what is the other person saying in this? Actually, maybe I've got this wrong, because trauma can do that. It can do it. It can skew your mind on things. And that's all I would like for the people in the chat that are seeing this and are feeling very triggered. Just sit down in those feelings and think, what am I missing? What's the other side to the coin? That's all it is.
And Shay, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your comments. And this is what it is, this dialogue. Every time we have these kind of chats, it's important that we're not an echo chamber. It's important that we engage with each other and appreciate. I'd like to know where you're living in Ghana. Come DM us so we can come and visit when I'm in Ghana. We can connect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You look like you're from my family.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm already there. I was just speaking from like how they say the devil's advocate, because there's a lot of folks that are out here and they're like, oh my God, who is this guy? Why is he trying to take our reparations? And one person mentioned like reparations is not only money.
Exactly.
People are like, oh, he's trying to take our money. And I'm like, what are they talking? Like y'all are making this more trivial than what it is. Exactly. And you're getting triggered by that little piece that you feel, in response. And I'm like, it's way more than that. And like y'all were mentioning, there's a lot of other people involved in the trade. There's a lot of other layers to the whole onion. And it's like some of the conversations like we're having in the Burkina conversation, I'm like, these people are not ready to go to Burkina. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you ladies having this conversation.
Thank you so much.
I follow you guys, so I'll continue to share.
Yes, man. Thank you so much.
Again and chat with us. Thank you.
Definitely. Happy Sunday. Woo!
Take care, ladies. Bye.
We had some donations in the chat. Let's get through those and we'll move on to Farrah's take. Kevin says, I've got a book and the receipts of those Black American reparationists that had a working relationship with Ghana on this UN resolution. Stephen says, I feel like a foreigner when I go to East London, let alone Nigeria. Nigeria go up, love. There was another one here. Strike says, this is for our drinks fund because after the convo, I'm going to make a strong drink right now. Your aunties could never please get more educated people. That is not in reference to Shay, because I think Shay did a very good job. And Stephen also comes back.
Nance. I don't know. She's still backstage. I don't know how to get to.
Oh, okay. Remove you from.
Are you doing it?
Sorry, it says kick from studio. We don't mean to do it like that.
No, not kick. Yeah.
Yeah. And Stephen says, a Carter or Yimbo are all for all foreigners and often in jest, not just Americans. Yesu. Yeah, that people latch onto a Carter. It's just, I won't say it's just, because it can be derogatory and it can be a way of describing someone who's not from the place. But it depends on how it was delivered to you. My Jimmy is
I don't even think it's delivery. This is a part of the gaslighting of it, though. It's not about the delivery. It's how you yourself take it. Somebody will say something. It's how you perceive it, and that's the disconnect. These are words until you internalize it, and it's thinking about, why do I always internalize things from these communities negatively? That's the starting point. That's where you need to go.
Matt Jimmy, thank you very much. We need to have yes and attitude, not yes but. Yes, have a yes and not yes but. Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly it's that. It's not yes, yes, exactly that. I'm getting confused with my yeses. And I think we've run the gamut.
It was a good combo, because honestly, I do like it when I get stuck in I don't understand what this person is saying. I need to connect to the emotion of where's that switch. Because if you ask somebody, what is it that people need to do? And then they fulfill what you're after. When you're in conflict with somebody, most people don't know. And that's when you know you're wanting me to do a marathon. And then maybe when I'm in the 8th mile, you're like, oh, that was what I was after. You need to know what you're after, or stop talking. Because that's the work. It's not, they should be, you can't arbitrarily be like, they overlook us, or it has to be very symbolic. What is the disconnect? What are they doing? Because usually you'll find it is white pathology, it is white people. There is a system in place there. It's not always us.
Yo.
I mean, George is still here, but I appreciate that you're even still here talking, though.
I can't give any more takes. Farrah, go ahead. Take it away.
Anyway, in other news. So it is officially 1 month and 1 day since Israel and America started their war on Iran. And given the fact that Donald Trump had said that it will be over in no time, I wanted to address his inconsistencies amongst a bunch of other things. So let me just run the tape for y'all. Bear with me. So basically, Trump has been online saying we're winning, we're not winning, we've won, we haven't won, we're nearly winning, we're almost there, and all this stuff. And I just want to.
I don't want to do a ceasefire. This is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right? We're not going to put up with it any longer. We're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. We're not leaving until that job is finished. As far as I'm concerned, we've essentially defeated Iran. The result will be lower oil prices. And I said, if we do that, oil prices will go up.
Progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually.
I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory.
We don't use the strait. The United States, we don't need it. Their oil comes out of the strait, and they should be in here very happily helping us. We were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up. Hopefully we won't have to do it. You don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. We're doing.
Here's another clip of him basically going back on what he said. Hold on, I'm on mute.
No, we can hear you.
Negotiate. Of course they negotiate, and they've been obliterated. Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. If they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively.
So he's saying all this stuff, right? But meanwhile, the Iranians are like, who are you talking to? You're talking to yourself, bruv. Like, we haven't said anything. We haven't been negotiating with you. You are talking to yourself.
ادامه دفاع از کشور هست. بنای مذاکره نداریم تا الان هیچ مذاکره هم صورت نگرفت و به نظرم که موضوع ما کاملا اصولی و روشن. هم عرض بکنم این که گاهی پیام‌های تبادل بشه از طریق کشورهای دوست یا از طریق بعضی از افراد مختلف. این نه اسمش گفتگو هست نه اسمش مذاکره هست. این وجود داشته و ایده های هم مطرح کردن. حالا بعد دیدم که در یک دو جا اسمشو گذاشتن مثلا 15 ماده یا از این حرفا. اینها رو در قالب ایده های مختلفی رو مطرح می‌کردن که همه اینها به مقامات عالی کشور منتقل شده و اگر که لازم باشه که موضعی گرفته بشه قطعاً تشخیص داده خواهد شد.
Who was that guy?
That's the foreign minister. He's the same guy that was like, if he wants to come and invade us on ground, it's fine. We're waiting for him.
Okay.
So that's the Iran foreign minister. He's the one that basically was saying, we've been preparing for this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Come on, bring it to us. But it's just, it's for me, it's like 1 month and 1 day since the war on Iran started, and Trump from the very beginning was like, this is going to happen very quickly. We're going to get in there and do with everything. He's like on all the socials and all the news platforms, basically saying that they have obliterated all of Iran's weapons and their capabilities. But then the next breath he's saying, we want a ceasefire. They want a ceasefire. They're begging us. It just seems like he doesn't actually know what he's doing. He's no clearer in 1 month and 1 day than he was at the very beginning of this illegal war, I might add. He says that he wants help from the from NATO and all of those guys, but then he's like, I don't actually need it. He's saying that I don't need the Strait of Hormuz to be open, but then he's saying that we need to help him do it. So it's just like, for me, I don't understand why no one is actually coming for him and Israel a little bit more than they would if this was another country. We've got a vet Cooper, who is the UK's, is she the foreign secretary? I think that's, yeah. She's the UK foreign secretary, and she's literally coming out and saying that Iran are holding the world hostage, and Iran should be challenged in this, and that's not what should happen. Hold on, I'm going to play a clip of her talking as well, chatting shit, because she's another one that needs to be sorted. There we go.
Yes, Shay, America is like Oz, and it is waiting for Toto to pull down the curtain. Exactly.
Basically.
Talk about the processes that are needed to ensure the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and also the protection for international shipping. And that's why, look, we have taken the approach of supporting defensive action, but also we've taken a different approach on the offensive action that has taken place as part of this conflict. But what we need is a partnership, including the diplomacy, including some of the discussions that we will have today. Iran cannot.
Here's another clip of her talking about
abilities, for example, drones provided to Russia by Iran that have been involved in the conflict by Ukraine. But we have also seen support from Russia provided to Iran in the Middle East conflict as well. And that's why I think as G7 countries, we have a shared interest in coming together to discuss these issues and the way that we need to protect our global economy from countries that want to weaponize our economy against us.
Crazy.
Now let's just be clear. Crazy. She's talking about weaponizing the global economy. Now we all know that oil is traded in petrodollars, and it's traded in petrodollars because in the 70s the president of America at the time, he said, no, we don't want to do it this way, everything has to come through us. He offered protection to Saudi Arabia in order for them to agree to trade oil in petrodollars. Now, the world is actually being held hostage because in order to trade oil, you're supposed to do it in petrodollars. Why is that then? It's okay for America to have bases all around the world. It's okay for America to basically say, you must use our currency to fund ourselves and so that we can be the superpower. You're not allowed to do anything else. But the minute that in a country that they are in conflict with decide to not use petrodollars and to have partnerships with other countries, they are holding the global currency, the global economy at risk. They are holding it hostage. It's the hypocrisy of this all is something that I cannot stand. I cannot stand the European prime ministers and presidents coming up and saying that we're not getting involved, but we are saying that it's not right that Iran should be engaging with Russia. It's not right that they should be talking to China, but it's okay that Israel and America, they're doing this. That's all fine. The hypocrisy of it all is like astounding to me. You've got MPs or whatever they're called, ministers from Israel sitting in the UN sitting in the UN, basically showing pictures of the fact that people in Israel have to go into bomb shelters and saying that civilians are being attacked. There's not been very many civilian casualties in Israel, I might add, but in the last month and 1 day, there's been over 1,600 deaths, I think it is, in Iran. And let's not forget what's going on in South Lebanon as well, because Israel are attacking South Lebanon at the same time that they're attacking Iran. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, don't hit us with weapons whilst you're hitting people with weapons. You can't say, I'm going to control this and we're going to control the world's global economy and the oil and not allow people to do something for the benefit of themselves.
Yeah, I think you said it. I think someone in the chat is saying if America wanted to flatten Iran, they could. Well, then go ahead then. I mean, again, this wild patriotism to a country that can't stand you.
I find it so
being a
crazy
and being like, yeah, go, we can do this. Well, if they can do it, do it. Because really, America wanted to do it, then do it. Because that's what, it's not Trump's administration, because he's acting without his administration's co-sign. They're voting against him behind his back on quite a few things. They're turning against him on quite a few things where they can, but he's just acting with how he wants, with him and Pete Hegseth and whatever. They're all doing their thing without consulting a damn. No one in Congress passed legalized this war. No one said this war can go ahead. No one said they should go ahead, and he acted anyway. So,
but they haven't challenged it. So I think let's not
the co-sign.
Let's not think that the Democrats and everybody are not co-signing this, and all of the European nations, because you are not stopping them.
Yeah.
And that's what
I'm saying. They're saying
You're
that.
not saying, oh, we put it forward, but also Congress could, if they wanted to, stop it, and they haven't. And they're not going to either, because it is within their interest to have this take place. For Western civilization, as they see it themselves, there are fractions of them that do believe in order for us to carry on our empire, we absolutely do have to split up West Asia. We absolutely, what Netanyahu said about rerouting, which is really what this is about, rerouting the resources that Iran has a stakehold over so that it goes through Israel. That is what Western civilization wants to take place. At this moment in time, they just all know that they are weak. They haven't found a new source to be able to do this military action without a whole load of people getting bankrupt. And then they also know, in the age of information, we all can see the play. We all know now. It's not like the Iraq War, where some people were like, no, it's not good to do this. It's not good to do this, generally on moral grounds, but they weren't seeing the play that this was literally going to be, that Israel could be greater. We weren't even allowed to talk about Palestine back then. Things would get shut down for you, losing jobs, like it is now. But there is still a groundswell of humans that can see the fuckeries in play, that are like, no, not in my name. And there needs to be more people like that all around the world that are literally like, no, you have been afforded a superpower, however America got it. But the world complied that you can be the world's police. Now you are turning into the biggest bully going and throwing your might around and killing people in our faces. Who did that before? The British. Where are they now? A little island, basically trafficking children and pillaging money. That's what the Brits are known for now. Just as much as I know there are some patriot Americans out there that are like, no, we got to do it for ourselves. Remember that when they do this shit, it's usually the end of the empire. And do you have another place to go? Because I suggest you do. Because the same way you're turning around and talking about immigrants coming over and running through the borders, it won't be too long for all of us over here as well, and may have to start running to some people's borders and being like, can you house us, please? We're asylum seekers. Let's just think about it. It goes around.
I'm just going to play a quick clip as well of someone explaining about the US military bases around the world, because they like to make out like there's no real plan around it and that they're just doing it for the defense of people, when in actual fact, it goes a bit deeper than that. And it is very unusual that any country has so many military bases. I'll start it again. Oops, look at that. Conspiracy shit. That's yours, Nance.
Across every continent except Antarctica. And no, having that many military bases abroad is not normal. In fact, only a small number of other countries even have foreign military bases. So how did this happen? The short answer, US imperialism. Let's start in 1823 with the Monroe Doctrine, which declared that the Western Hemisphere was off limits to European colonization and helped normalize US military intervention abroad, like intervening in the Cuban War of Independence in 1898 or engaging in a war with Filipino revolutionaries just a year after that. But military bases as we know them today really began popping up during World War II, after the US and the UK made a deal. The US would transfer 50 destroyers to the UK to help in the war. In exchange, the US received 99-year leases over British bases in the Western Hemisphere, including Jamaica, Trinidad, and the Bahamas. By 1945, the US was building about 112 foreign bases a month. In the span of only 5 years, the US grew the first empire of bases in the world. It also began deploying its military anywhere it felt threatened. It sent troops to occupy southern Korea in 1945, with the Vietnam War kicking off in 1955. And across Latin America, US intervention and regime change became a defining force. Some bases are massive little Americas, complete with American schools, housing, and fast food. Others are smaller bases, or lily pads, used for drones, surveillance, weapons, and rapid military operations. Some experts argue U.S. foreign bases are simply launch pads for war. Since 2001, the U.S. has spent nearly $6 trillion on wars in the Middle East. On this year's Iran war alone, the U.S. is estimated to be spending upwards of $1 billion a day. It's not just financially costly. U.S. bases have displaced entire populations, like on Diego Garcia, where the native Shakoshan population was forcibly removed so the U.S. could operate a base with the UK. On top of that, people in countries like Ireland, Ecuador, and Japan have protested U.S. military presence for years. And despite what the Pentagon suggests, closing bases isn't impossible. U.S. presidents have already shut down hundreds before. But it's not just a matter of closing a few bases. It's about questioning the role the U.S. plays in global politics and how it uses its military force to get what it wants. Why does the U.S.
I mean, look at our angry white politicians talking heads are like, oh, that stupid decision made in the Chagos Islands, all that type of stuff. Like, just because you're losing power and people and saying that they're greedy because they want their own independence.
Imagine.
That's like just off topic or back to topic. That's when they said that people who wanted to be free from slavery were mad.
Yeah. And you're ignorant, you're uppity and all that type of stuff.
It's
the idea,
crazy though. Where are the Chagos people though? Are they still in Britain? Remember they moved them out? That was the whole thing. They moved a whole load of them and then they brought them over here, but said that they were going, and this is what the Brits will do, and Americans now, we are going to sort this place out for you. They come with, we are going to help you, we're going to sort it out. Then when it's like, hang on, where's our houses? Where's the sewage system? Oh, no, it's ours now. This is our military base. That was my home.
We need to have this. We need to have this to secure the rest of the world. But if you look at the map of where they've got their military bases, who is really the threat? Because they are basically engulfing everybody else. Who is actually the threat? Who is it that is dominating the world by saying that you must abide by our laws, you must use our dollars, you must trade in our petro? Who is it that is actually doing these things?
And actually, what's interesting as well is the fact that when they were saying, as you know, military bases, they create a whole system, little mini worlds. Yep. When you're talking about immigrants not integrating into the country, and not that we want everybody to, like you people that are coming to colonize, we colonize. We don't really necessarily want in the community, but how about not creating bases where you have this whole internal system where you've got schools and streets and a little system that excludes the people of the land that you're in colonizing? How about that? And then you want to talk about immigrants not integrating into the societies that they come to. It's crazy. The arrogance.
I think it's a wild state of affairs. I don't know if maybe. Why does there feel like there is a shift now? I'm really wondering. I'm like, is it? Am I older? Is it the internet? But it feels like this information is out there way more than any other time, where people can really see what is at play. And I still find folks are still blaming Israel. Like, you know, the Israelis have infiltrated America, and it's like it's the same people, guys. It is the Epstein class. It's the same. It doesn't matter. They are the same folks that are in Saudi. It's the same people. I would go so far as to say, I feel like Russia and China are the same people as well. They're just playing the duality of it because you need your counter. I feel like they're all in it. Like, okay, so we're going to be your enemy. You're going to do, but in the same way, have they not all done the same thing to the world? Like, you still have everybody going to your too.
We see that. Because let's not forget that just the other day, people were talking about, okay, well, we can't get oil and gas from this region anymore. Let's start using Russia. Yeah. And they were going to start trading with Russia again, even though they knew they put sanctions on Russia because they said that any money that they make is going into funding the Ukraine war. But now they're like, oh, actually, let's start talking to Russia again. It's all the same thing. Russia are providing intelligence to Iran. They've provided intelligence to all over the world before. Like, it's all the same thing. They're just arguing amongst themselves.
Yeah, arguing amongst themselves and just dick swinging to who can be the first one to get all the power. Because then then they're pretending wolf in sheep's clothing to countries that want to get away from the Western powers, but aligning with the BRIC bloc or whatever, the bloc that's the Eastern bloc, whatever they want to call it, that's coming to recolonize the world again. That's why we have conversations about why the East Asians are in China, in Africa and in the Caribbean, recolonizing, pretending to set up, okay, we'll give you a fair trade deal, but yet we must get your data. We had the story before where there was a Chinese company that was in Ghana that set up in the name of working together, but they were just mining data to then take over the situation for themselves. Listen,
it is the same. It is the same shit, because also, as I said, the British and the Spanish and the Portuguese and the Germans, when they were going around, they didn't come straight off the bat and be like, we're taking your people. No. They traded civilly for almost a century, where you are now like, oh, this is a new world emerging. This is a new way of trade. And then their sinister shit comes in. I don't know how sinister the Chinese are going to be. There are lots of people that say, look at how China treats the Taiwanese people and even Chinese people, to know when they get their foothold in Africa and the Caribbean, what they will do to black folk.
Well, there's been stories about the way that they've mistreated African employees. Whatever system they have, they're creating that kind of worker bee, no rights, no lunch breaks, all those kind of poor pay, those factory kind of systems. What do you call it when? Oh, God, what am I saying? Workhouses, not workhouses. Like when you
like a sweatshop.
Thank you, sweatshop behavior in Africa as well. That's what's happening. And then and also what they do, that's what has historically been done by superpowers that invade certain countries. They create the systems, they employ poorly, and then they start breeding. Because there's even talking about communities of Chinese Ghanaians, growing Chinese Ghanaians, because of what they're going to do is infiltrate into the system. And then you have this kind of community of people that we have torn loyalties. We have loyalties to China and to Ghana, and then it creates another empirical system. So this is what it is. And I'm not saying that you can't do trade with other country, but think about how they're entering your country and what they're doing. And this is where we do implore Caribbean and African leaders to be more astute and more discerning when they're making these agreements and trades with these countries. Don't go cap in hand because you want to go from one master to the next. You're just going from massa to massa to massa. That's the problem. That's the thing where we're at when it comes to our countries.
Yeah. It is the same. Delta Slim, build within your own countries and stop fleeing. I don't know what he's talking about. I thought it was going to be a good part.
It's not going to be about how are we going to go when, it's in response to what you're saying, is that when the war breaks out and you lot might become refugees, where you're going. Some people are saying their family stay and build. You can stay and fight or find somewhere to go. It's up to you. Everyone's got free will. Everyone's got free will. And I can't believe people are still talking madness in the chat about the previous conversation.
Anyway, I just want to play, because the thing that has been making me chuckle a little bit is how much Iran are trolling President Trump. So I just want to play. This is actually a banger of a tune, right?
Cross the ocean just to find your granny. Like young boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Make America great again. Yeah. Make America great again now. You will see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. While you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil. You first who ran the globe, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. L.O.S.E.R. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. L.O.S.E.R. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. L.O.S.E.R. Hey, Wakes fighting in your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common name is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the leg. Common name again. The secrets are leaking. Pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. L.O.S.E.R. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. L.O.S.E.R. Taste the ash. L.O.S.E.R. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. L.O.S.E.R. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. The slaughterhouse is open. Common name can. L.O.S.E.R.
The thing is,
I mean,
it's a
tune.
It's a banger. But this is where we're at. They're trading that
thing.
They're memeing each other. It's like this is where we're at. I mean, I get it because they're saying this is how they have to communicate with someone like Trump.
But this is grown leaders that are ruling the world are resorting to memes, and you've got Trump talking shit every day and tweeting ridiculous manifestos on his Trump social thing. And then we've got world leaders that are supposed to know better, do better, that are resorting to this. Even if Iran is saying that this is the best way for Americans to get it, or Trump and his people to get it, it's like, even that is still not good because it's not a joke. What's happening? People are dying. It's actually not a joke. It's like, this is going too far. Yes, we're bopping, but it's actually going too far. It's not a joke.
Trump spent about 6 minutes or so, I can't remember how many minutes, talking about a flipping pen. That's how much he doesn't understand what's going on and doesn't care, because it is about, one thing is that they said in that video, it's about his ego. And literally that's really what it is, about money, and it's about his ego. And he's willing to sacrifice the lives of innocent people across the world for those things.
Mad.
Roll, I can't say your name, just said that how memes affect the mind of the individual to not have to think. Basically, I mean, even just short spurts, little clips. It's the way of the world. Like our concentration is very limited, and people really do need to think way more. That $1 billion is being spent a day,
every day,
basically killing folks and wasting resources.
Exactly.
But also Trump can come along and say, like, from nowhere, so we're going to do a 5-day ceasefire, and the stock exchange reacts to that, which is a lie.
Exactly.
And he isn't being impeached for that. That's basically insider trading. It's wild. It's crazy. And there's evidence of it as well. The insider trading, 15 minutes before he said it, people putting down billions. It's crazy. They're not even trying to hide it anymore.
They're not trying to hide it. The insider trading is wild, and you're betting on people's deaths and lives. Nakmizi has, thank you for your donations. Reparations should be paid from Ghana to the people they sold, specifically Black Surinamese and Jamaicans. We Black Americans don't even come from Ghana. Salute to my Ghana friends in Bookham. Okay. And Goj is back. Kevin is actually Okay, next time in London, we have to... I can't even read this all out, but you've donated some pounds.
You don't have to read it. You can just show it.
There you go.
Yeah,
For yourself. Gosh, I'm scared.
Roj, you can come to one of our shows, you will have fun. And also the thing of Ghana paying reparations, the form has been done in lots of different ways, and maybe these are the things that maybe Ghana as a government needed to highlight more. As a Ghanaian, I would know that they are one of the first African countries to actually apologize. They also have various different forms. Reparations isn't always about money, but trade deals that they do with Jamaica and Suriname actually as well, that is more favorable to the economic growth, because they understand that what was done in various different tribes kind of acquiescing and dealing with the Europeans needs to be paid for in some ways. It's not that they were sending over millions or $1 trillion over to that country, but they do favorable trade deals. They're trying to do more on visa, and they are doing it within the remit that America doesn't like this shit, and nor does the British. When African countries start doing things is why they always stop there just being a direct flight. They have to fight through getting sanctioned when they want to trade with each other. But they do have trade deals that are more favorable and an apology because of that. And they do citizenship as well. That is made very easy and fast-tracked. As it stands now, it's probably easier for more people that do not have Ghanaian parents like me to get citizenship than for me to sort out my passport. And these are all parts of reparations. You know, it's making trade easier, but let's just remember they have apologized. We are still actively the African community waiting for the Europeans who profited the most to apologize. And they won't even say it's an atrocity at this moment in time.
At this point. Yeah, like you are crazy.
Go away, yes, Mayhem. You're just
he's so
go away now.
Yes, Mayhem's not real. Yes, Mayhem is a wanker, basically. You're not real. You're a wanker.
I feel like it's just really sad. And he's not alone, though, because we saw it in that other woman's comments. So many people locked in a trauma to not be able to look outside of their own myopic worldview to see what is truly going on. That real healing has to start from self. Nobody can't give it to you. That's collectively for all of us Africans to know that. The white Europeans are never going to wake up and truly be like, you know what, we are absolutely sorry. They are not going to do that ever. We have to do it for ourselves. We can't be waiting for them to find their humanity. Like, let's actually wake up.
Let's move on to, like, because we're talking about colonization. We could be colonized by aliens. Nana, alternative corner.
Segue.
Yes. Welcome, guys, to my alternative corner. So I will always be bringing you guys some new news stories that I see in the alternative space, the the tinfoil hat space, like what they are talking about. And as it stands, Barack Obama kind of confirmed it when he went on Brian Cohen show and said, yes, there are aliens. And lots of people who channel these aliens are now telling us that they are going to come forward and reveal themselves in 2027. Yes, this is happening. I will show you the quick clip of what he said. Guys, are you lot ready for when the aliens come forward? Are you prepared? I'm asking you two while I set this up.
For when the aliens come forward to take us.
Yeah,
they're already here.
I'm not prepared for the actual aggressive, hey, you come with me. I remember I said one time, I think I had a dream and I think I was abducted. It was a dream though, or it was real.
You weren't abducted?
I might have been. That's the thing, you never know, because at this point, after watching the X-Files especially, that you never know what your dreams are and what's not. Because I remember there was a flash of light, there was a big light outside my window, and then I feel like I was taken.
Maybe you were.
Maybe I was.
Okay, all right. Let's hear what this guy is. Daryl. This is Daryl, and he channels with an extraterrestrial called Bashir.
Parallel reality. his solar system would be in about 500 light years in the direction of the Orion constellation. He's a hybrid being, 50-50 between us and a gray. Hybrid. 5 feet tall on average, relatively slender, skin about this white, eyes larger than ours, ears, nose, mouth smaller than ours, head a little larger. Males don't have hair, females do. Typical hybrid extraterrestrial.
Typical hybrid extraterrestrial.
And is he helping as a hobby? He's a first contact specialist. He's not a physicist. We would consider them to be about 3,000 years ahead of us. They're trying to help us avoid some of the pitfalls that the species that created them went through. They used to be human. They're genetically connected to us, so they consider us to be family. They destroyed their world. They had to mutate to survive into what we now see as the Greys. They lost the ability to reproduce. They had to shift into other parallel realities where human DNA was still viable, like ours, and use that to create hybrids to perpetuate their culture. He is now saying that probably in 2027, we will be introduced literally to extraterrestrials.
Who is Bashar?
He's an extraterrestrial physical entity in parallel.
Right. So, guys, so before we get that's what I thought was happening. We'll get into it later on. Thank you, Kevin, very much. Yes, thank you. I did hear about it.
So,
what do you guys think?
I believe that
you believe it, yeah?
I believe in aliens, for one. And I've always said, I don't think that aliens necessarily have to be little green men with antennas.
No, exactly.
I kind of think that they're closer to us than we. Why in the whole universe would we assume that we're alone? That's wild to me that we think that we're alone.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're more advanced than us, I do believe that.
Yeah.
And the fact that what might have happened is the same way that we are here now looking for planets that we can go to. That's what happened already. And that's how we got here.
So it's like a cyclical thing. Do you think though, like I found 5 other medium people who channel with various different entities like this guy does, and they were basically saying the same thing. It was like from now, 2026 until 2030, that we are going to have more sights of aliens. Actually, like they are going to reveal themselves, and then we're going to have direct communication. Like they're going to do spaceships. So spaceships are going to be sighted more regularly, and it's going to be featured on the news, like standard news. A spaceship was seen over Brazil. A spaceship was seen over Ghana. It's going to be standard news, so we all know. And then they are going to have like official means, like they'll probably maybe. He did say in this one, this guy is saying Trump isn't going to be around in 2027. He was like, they're going to reveal themselves, but I have already been told it's not Trump that they speak to. There is another president. So that's another insight. Let's see if that takes place. But then they're going to start sitting down with officials through another human, but talking as their alien selves. And then eventually, maybe 20 years' time, the actual aliens are going to physically present themselves. Does this sound ludicrous or real? Because to me, I am like, absolutely in my lifetime are we going to be having dinner with an alien? Like I'm going to have an alien friend. It feels very real. Am I insane? This is where I am. I don't know. I'm just like, am I insane? But I can see it taking place, and I don't even feel like it'll be that crazy.
I don't know about you sitting down and having dinner, going to Nobu with an alien friend.
Going to Nobu.
I've
already done that.
I've already done that. I think it's more about the why and the how and why now and all that type of stuff. We've seen enough, and as we've been told, a lot of shows and films are the blueprint or the manual to what's going to happen, the future telling. I don't know. I don't know if I can say yes, this is actually going to happen, because it feels like why hasn't it happened until now? But it would be very, as far as I said, and as we always say, it'd be very, very ignorant of us as human beings to believe that we're the only entities in this whole entire universe that we haven't even managed to navigate on our own, and we only have the information. As goes, listen. Try to say that African believes anything that this white man tells them. This is a very white way of thinking, because actually space study and research is also happening in Black countries, and there are Black people who are actually understanding the cosmos and the universe, and will have also talked about the content that's been made in in other countries. So it's just not exclusive to the white man's narrative. Everyone who believes in those things will be talking about it. I don't know. My long answer is I don't know. I would be definitely scared if they come on smoke, because I just believe that they've got better weapons and intelligence than we do over here, as demonstrated by the leaders that make memes rather than actually do things properly. So I'd be scared. That's the only thing I would be scared. If they come in like immigrants, like Men in Black, when they've got them going through the alien immigration thing. If it's like that, I just have to set, because already we're not very good as humans at looking at people that are different and people with disabilities and things like that. So we're gonna
that's why I think they haven't revealed themselves.
That's another thing. So then if you're going to come and we're going to have a world where someone with 25 eyes and 14 legs is going to be normalized, and then being green or blue or having, a bum for a head, if those are the things that we're going to start seeing, that's what I need to see how humans are going to react. Because I don't trust humans as well to be welcoming. And I think the first thing we're going to be doing is getting into an intergalactic battle. And I'm not ready for that.
Okay, so this entity, so there's the Greys, and lots of people talk about the Greys in in the spirit world as well. But he connects the two. He is like, the first point of call will be a hybrid. So it's the Greys and a humanoid that needed to be kind of made, which they kind of say is how humans were made as well, that there were super gods and then they made us. So it's a following of the same mythology, that these hybrids, they are in another parallel universe, and somehow our consciousness will sink in, and then they will be able to materialize here. So they're not going to look too crazy to us. But he also does go on to say that there are obviously lots of different species that they know that our little human selves can't handle seeing them. But so they're going to start off with the soft ones, the aliens that some people have seen already, like the little heads and the big eyes. Like they're going to start with that, and then they're going to graduate more. Probably we will be dead by then, and then it will go on. But he did say next year we're going to have proof. It's not going to be speculation. We're not going to be talking about it. We will all know. The conversation will have graduated to, oh, when can I meet an alien type of chat?
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, I'm scared of the aliens type. Like, we're going to have moved, and there'll be concrete proof that at least the grey hybrids are among us. And then we can talk about reptilians and all of that. I have another set of videos on reptilians. We'll talk about them another day.
Nakamizi, thanks. Ashanti were business partners with the Dutch VOC. They even sent warriors to fight in Indonesia for Holland. They were called Belanda Hitam Pay Up. All right.
Yeah, undercut. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I love that this is a really toxic relationship. You're paying to say shit. Okay, cool.
But it's fine. Tell us more facts. Tell us more facts.
Tell us more facts. This is the real kinky relationship. Berate me with your money. Berate me with your money. Go ahead. I mean, the joke of it will be, who will have the first mixed alien human race kid? Like, who's going to have that? Who's going to have a mixed?
It's already happened. Why are we talking like it's not happened?
No, with a visible alien.
That could happen in our lifetime, honestly. Yeah, like I said, guys, this is news and nonsense. This is gonna be proper news soon, though. I'm telling you, I'm just bringing the early news before it's news out there. That's what my section will do. The early news before, then you're gonna have the BBC. Can you imagine a BBC reporter? So tonight on the BBC, we have direct contact with the extraterrestrials of the Zukani Badwadama tribe. Like, that's going to be wild, and we may actually see that in our life.
Seen a lot. We have seen it. Our generation has seen a lot. So,
and it's not far removed. Don't have to be high to do it, There's so many shows. District 9, you've got Fringe, you've got X-Files, you've got V. You've
District 9, that movie was good.
Shows. So many shows and films. Matrix, the dual parallel world that we're living. Just pull back the layer. There's another me doing stuff.
He did say as well that the aliens, why we're going to accept them is AI is obviously going to change our whole lives, and all of that shit is going to happen. But the aliens are going to come with new kind of hope and work and purpose for us. And so lots of people, because they were like in abject poverty and destitution, are going to be like, I'm prepared to be ruled by an alien because they're going to offer us work. And that's how we're going to easily be like, actually, the aliens are our saviors. And obviously they are 3,000 years ahead of us or something. So they have better technology. Like, they're going to change our world, is what he was saying. That scared me more, though. I was like, I don't want to live under now an alien dictatorship. Like, I don't want that. But when he took it there, I was a bit like, oh, please. But it's probably going to happen.
By goes, we need rehab, apparently. I was trying to, Stephen, I know about Octavia Butler, and I was trying to look for one of my favorite sci-fi books from a black author as well. It's in there somewhere. I might try and put it to the front. Brilliant book, really great. She's a black sci-fi writer. I've got a couple of Octavia's books, to be fair. So yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Jordan. Voluntary slavery. But there was little things that he was saying, and I still believe the Epstein class are greys anyway. When you start going down the road of what greys do and people who go and fight them in the demon world, and I'm talking about this very honestly, that there are folks that say they go and fight the demon world, that they have seen the Queen, they've seen Charles, they've seen Trump, they saw Epstein, but their other demon selves are there, and they call them greys. Greys eat humans. They like to do things to children. They drink the blood. Like, they're here amongst us. I'm just saying. I'm just easing it in.
All right, let's get into it. Listen, you heard it here first.
Yeah. I'm going to create us jingles, Farrah. So that people know the close of our sections. Now back to regular news.
No, back to regular settings.
Now back to regular settings, and here's the rest. Ding, ding, ding. A few things people have mentioned it in the chat, and we weren't going to run it. I was going to run it on, but because the Diaspora Wars continued and took over, I took a little break. But yes, it is true, which shocked my core, that whilst Ghana and Mahama was announcing this thing at the UN about reparations, Ghana had also entered into a new security and defense agreement with the European Union, becoming the first African nation to do so. Through this partnership, Ghana aims to strengthen its counterterrorism efforts and bolster border security, which some say is selling us out, and the reparations conversation was a smokescreen. Let's discuss. I've got the video right here, and this is what happened.
Ghana has made history as the first African country to conclude a strategic security and defense agreement with the European Union. The deal places Ghana among a small group of EU security partners that includes the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, and Norway. The agreement was signed in Accra by Ghana's Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, and Kaya Kallas, Vice President of the European Commission, during her official visit. DW's Adra Tenkrama-Domina has more.
The new security and defense partnership sets out a structured long-term framework for cooperation between Ghana and the European Union. It focuses on shared security challenges that continue to affect the region. Now, these include terrorism spilling over from the Sahel, cyber and hybrid threats, maritime insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea, the impacts of climate pressures on instability, and the rise of transnational organized crime. How does Ghana benefit? The agreement is expected to improve Ghana's capabilities in counterterrorism, border management, and crisis response. It comes at a moment when West Africa is facing growing militant activity and political uncertainty. What does the EU hope to achieve? Kaya Kallas shared more insights during an interview with DW.
Now, we are supporting, of course, also the different approach when it comes to economy, because I think it's important that we also deal with the root causes of instability, which are stemming from economy, and therefore, our support in various projects via the Global Gateway, but also, different support mechanisms that we have. And this is important that we continue to see what more is there. We also were exploring the bilateral possibilities. I mean, what we are interested in are critical raw materials, and also what kind of cooperation we could have there, plus also energy.
Oh, before you start, we have another donation that just came in.
Yeah, Nakneezy is talking shit. Hold on.
There we go.
Okay, thanks for paying.
Worst jollof in West Africa. Thank you for sending us money. Some Ghanaians, for real, all I can say to you is, and you probably are never going to taste it, but if you tasted AK jollof rice, you would say that's probably the best jollof rice you have ever tasted. But you know, such is life. Who is going to fight over jollof? And the best jollof I've had is yours and a Senegalese person. So, okay.
Okay, thank you, Nakneezy. I like I said, our toxic relationship is growing. Pay us and insult us.
That's fair.
You pay more than 6 though. Just saying.
Pay more, yeah. You can up it.
It costs you more.
Up it more. If you want to get real down and dirty, say some more. Use some more money. But guys, back on seriousness, people say that whilst the reparations announcement was made by Mahama leading the way, this deal with EU, especially on the back of these EU people, I don't know, and I wonder if they knew that the EU was going to abstain from this vote whilst they were doing that. That's the more nefarious kind of thinking. But literally at the same day or the same time, literally, you've got them signing a deal where to have some sort of security relationship. We don't trust that. Why do you think Mahama did it? And is there any justification? Is it a case of no matter what, we have to be able to work with everybody in the world? Or should Africa, anyone in any African country, absolutely not deal with the West in any way, shape, or form? Is that a realistic ask?
I mean, I would love it to be that way. I would love them all to truly see the damage that has been done, truly lament on it, and be like, we are withdrawing ourselves from you wholesale. At this moment in time, I have no favor to the Ghanaian government in any way, shape, or form. I think they're all the same. For generations, they have been the same. They have been the Europeans' little pick-me dogs, and Europe coming along and offering Ghana this deal is because they are being chucked out of all of the French-speaking countries already, the Sahel, as they call them. They are effectively removing them, but still doing deals though as well. So let's not put those guys on a pedestal, but at least they are military-wise being like, you guys have got to get the hell out of our countries.
Yeah.
Now, Ghana within itself can be like, well, these guys still need trade and I need their security just in case things shift. And they are expecting that. West Africa has been very quiet for a while. The world doesn't ever like stability in Africa for too long. And I just feel strategically he is placing himself to be in alliance with the Europeans just in case the Europeans get an American ideology that they are going to take over and take back what has been removed to them. The reason why America will never let Cuba go is because it used to be a colony of theirs. Yeah. And so I feel like Ghana is being like, well, we don't want to be recolonized. Let's join up with them. It's lily-livered. It's shit. They should be above that by now, but they are not.
Yeah.
Nobody is in Africa. The same way you have flipping Burkina Faso doing a deal with America to sell off their data and their DNA. It's that none of them should be supported by us in any way. They're not there yet. We are not there. Maybe some fractions in South Africa you can actually support what people are doing there for their people, but Ghana, no, this is a shit move. Yeah. I understand why they do it though, because as I have family in Ghana planning to move back there for security, I get it, but it's still shit.
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't happen. And I get it. I wonder what. Again, I'm not a world leader, obviously, and I think sometimes it's, in quotes, easy for us to say as citizens, this and this and this and this should happen. We don't know, and have we spoken about the way that the West can be so destabilizing without thinking when it comes to African and Caribbean countries, what the for or against is. Is it like 90% against means that my people are going to die in abundance and no one's going to understand it. And then there's going to be a coup. Then I'm going to get taken out and maybe be in a worse position and be reinstated with a dictator or a despot or whatever. Or is it literally for greed? It's very hard to tell because leaders, no matter around the world, are evil and power hungry. Power tends to get to their head. They want to go down in history and have their name read out. That's literally their intention. So I'm flabbergasted. When I saw it, I was like, no, I've been in the trenches commenting about what the intention of the reparations deal is. But then my leader, my country, the country that I'm from and defending is also doing foolishness. It's a conflict. It's a problem. It's a conflict. And I don't know. And this thing about military threat, I don't know. I'm not in West Africa every day. I don't know where the Islamic military threat is coming from and all those type of things. Is that just propaganda? Are people just waiting at the wings of Ghana just because Ghana for so long has been promoted as one of the most stable countries in Africa, and it's the utopia for Africans and people of the diaspora to go to? But yet, is it true that someone's waiting in the wings to come and destabilize it? Do we feel that fear, or again, is that propaganda that's perpetuated by the West about general Muslim and Islam militants or whatever? Because that's the kind of propaganda they want around the world. So that's the kind of things I don't know. Why are we not smarter to it? Why are we not smarter?
I would feel like it is a bit of propaganda, but you also know what the threats are when you're up close to it. And in the same way that America can come along and tell all of the other Caribbean countries that you can't have Cuban doctors in there, you would know that when they want to start targeting them, if you don't get on board, then you're going to be a target. What I would like is for the African Union to truly be a union and to really be like, we got to kick them out, guys.
Exactly.
We've got to do something about this. We got to stand up to it in some way instead of always capitulating to, okay, I've got to keep my citizens okay. And it's not ever about the citizens as well. There is abject poverty in Ghana, and it's not about the citizens because they would sort shit out, and they're not. It is basically for the elite cronies to be able to go to the G20. It's for them to be able to funnel money out and be able to send their kids to school in the US and all of that. It's the same ruling class. It doesn't matter. It's never for the people. That's why it's a problem. Now that doesn't negate from the UN resolution, because the UN resolution ain't for Ghana. It's for Africans around the globe. It's very different. I hate when people put this. No, it's two different things.
It's two different things, because he can speak on that when we can do, and this is where it becomes what's Africa's problem is Africa's problem, and then what's America's problem is America's problem. But the global overarching thing is slavery was a disservice to the whole world, and even to the whites on the who were part of it. It's still a disservice to you too. So yeah, any thoughts, Farrah, before I move on to the next? Alrighty, so here's the rest. Big tech has been found liable for social media addiction. A US jury has ruled that Meta and YouTube are liable for designing addictive platforms that harmed a young user's mental health, marking a significant moment for accountability in Silicon Valley. So now, let me get it lined up, which I never do on time. I'm very sorry.
Hang on. So is that like a class action, or is it a person was like, I'm suing because my child has been addicted?
I think it's a person, and then it can turn into a class. But let's play this.
The answer is yes.
Meta just lost a court case that could have huge implications for children on social media. The company behind WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook has been fined $375 million for damaging children's mental health and exposing them to sexual content. Meta says it will appeal the decision.
I think if you're serving billions of people, some very small percent of them are going to be criminals.
But the company faces a wave of more than 40 similar lawsuits, and more countries are looking to ban social media apps entirely for the under 16. So are we doing enough to protect children online? Here's Tyler Anderson with the breakdown.
Did Meta act willfully by engaging in an unfair or deceptive trade practice? The answer is yes.
Our company is now Meta.
Meta knowingly harmed children's mental health and hid what it knew about child exploitation on its platforms. That's according to a landmark decision from a jury in New Mexico. The jury heard from former Meta executives, engineers, and whistleblowers, with many claiming the company didn't do enough to protect young people. One told Congress how his own young daughter received sexual advances from a stranger on Instagram.
It is unacceptable that a 13-year-old girl gets propositioned on social media. Unfortunately, it happens all too frequently today.
The victims are children. The conduct was repeated again and again over an entire decade in a kid's life. That's forever. That it was done and made with knowledge that serious harm would result, and it did. That Meta had the resources to prevent these harms. But instead of preventing them, in real life, it misrepresented that it had.
Meta must now pay $375 million in civil damages for thousands of violations.
How many willful violations did Meta commit by engaging in an unfair or deceptive trade practice? The jury's answer is 37,500.
The company says it works hard to keep people safe on its platforms and will challenge the verdict.
Most people are already aware of the risks of social media. Meta isn't hiding anything about the risks of the platforms. It discloses them everywhere.
Governments around the world have already taken action to limit children's exposure to social media. Australia has banned social media access to under 16s, and the UK government is currently consulting on plans to bring in similar measures.
This will include the option of banning social media for children under 16 and raising the digital age of consent.
All right, that's a little too realistic.
This week's verdict isn't the end of Meta's legal worries. More than 40 US attorney generals have filed lawsuits against the company, claiming it's contributing to a mental health crisis among young people.
Thanks.
So it goes into wide. I'll drop this in the chat for you guys to watch the full thing. And at first I thought it was a general ruling, but then I thought it's very targeted at children. But what about the first adult that can put this through as well? Because it definitely affects adults as well. But what do you guys think of the initial thing? And do you think it's going to make a difference? I mean, 375 million, chump change to Meta. But it's a start, and it can open up the floodgates of people being sued, of the companies being sued. What do you not think?
Go far.
Yeah, I agree. It's chump change, and he'll just tie it up in appeals for an extended amount of time before he has to pay any money to anybody. We know that they can put these restrictions on social media, but there are always ways around kids getting onto it. So in general, it just has to be made safer, but not just for children. There are, there's not enough done when there are racist comments on social media and, comments about rape and all this, and molestation and all these things. It's not followed up enough. It's not banned enough. If it's not, the right things are not highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want about Israel in terms of positively, that's fine. But if you said anything negative, it doesn't have the same effect, like you're banned automatically. There's not enough fairness because it's controlled by people who have all the power in all of the, social media world. So I don't know how they're going to stop him from doing shit, in all honesty.
Yeah, like the horse is bolted. What do you think, Nan?
I feel like we all kind of got to get in there and start doing some types of lawsuits, because what this has done is set a precedence that actually what the whistleblowers were saying, that they put in mechanisms to make it more addictive, which programmers were saying, we can't do this ethically, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't have this practice, and they overrode it for profits. That in effect is what it's not. I know lots of people are like, but what about the parents? What about the parents? It's not that. They actively put things in to make us addicted to it. So we all now, because you overrode it for you have to share those profits now, because you have our attention. We're here now. Not just young people, adults as well. You fucked up a lot of people's lives. You've made a lot of people ignorant. You basically have, your platforms have allowed sinister Epstein class people to be leaders.
Yeah.
Because of how you pump it out. Yeah, you got to pay us some money now. Reparations.
Look at the Cambridge nonsense of when it was the elections and the meddling with elections, skewing propaganda, sending algorithms, all this kind of propaganda stuff to steer their voting. You guys have meddled in too much. And I definitely think, yes, children should be the opening, because no child needs to be corrupted by social media just from them seemingly having entertainment, but let's not discount what it's done to grown adults, grown human beings who have normally would have normal sense, common sense, have had their kind of mindset shifted. A normal person's like, okay, I don't think this is right, but they get fed all this stuff that's like giving them another perspective where another day they would never have even thought like that. That is a problem. And that means your practice is even more dangerous and skewing the mind of a young, malleable person to an adult who's got their mind fixed on something, and you're able to sway them and give them so much misinformation that they actually will go outside and fucking do a January 6th. That's the depth of what it is.
Exactly. We have Strike in the building.
Strike, what do you want to say, sir?
Hang on, let me add to the stage. There we go. Yes. Hey.
Oh, you guys can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, let's try and keep it short then. Oh man, so many things to tackle. On the whole internet ban thing, it's a bunch of nonsense. For the first time in history, younger generations, so I say millennials, probably Gen Xers and below, have access to all this info that our grandparents and their parents never had. And all of a sudden, when it's being exposed that these guys are pedophiles and that they eat human flesh, they suddenly gung-ho about, let's protect the children. No. Facebook and all these other apps, when they were created, they knew the dangers of these apps. It's just that the average human being can now actually understand how the world works. And they don't like that. So that's why they're really pushing this whole ban. I remember when they pushed the bans for like the under 18 material before they did that whole change to the internet. That was because they were starting to expose a lot of this Epstein stuff. And all of a sudden, one of the guys who was co-signing it was a friend of Mandelson and Epstein. And it's like, this stuff is obvious. It's literally in your face. And yet somehow we choose to pretend like that's not the case. There's a podcast I was watching the other day, if you believe in conspiracies like me, and they were talking about how Facebook, and they've got the proof actually, was a government program. It was called something else. I'll try and find the name and post it in the chat. And they showed that the day the patent for the Facebook military program was sort of shut down, immediately after, Facebook by Mark Zuckerberg was patented on the same day.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, at what point when you see all this stuff, like you're like, oh yeah, okay, the game is rigged. It's pretty obvious how all this stuff works. The banning of all this technology is not for the good of your children. It's because your children are going to be very well informed as to how the world works, and they can't have that. That's all it is. Tying it back to the lady from before, there is a concentrated effort to make sure that we're not educated enough to understand how things are. And there's a reason why there's such a big difference between the American education system and the English one. Again, if you believe in conspiracies, you've already been told that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's dad, was in charge of the American education system. Take from that what you will. But we know that now to be a fact. So whatever happened in between that is up to you to sort of figure it out. There's nothing that this government is doing that is for our benefit, especially when it comes to banning all this stuff. Now that we know what we know, whether you talk about the grades or whatever, anything to do with stopping you from accessing technology or education is never done for your own good. Like when you guys were talking about the aliens, I was like, okay, fine, if aliens are real, what happens if they do pop down to religion? A lot of religion has been predicated on the fact that God is real, there are angels, and we are chosen in some way, shape, or form. Okay, but if aliens come down, that negates a lot of that, because you weren't talking about aliens in the Bible in the way that they probably will exist. So does that mean that for thousands of years, you've just fed us lies? Which again, could be true, because the Bible, 66 books, but with totality, 88 books, if you believe the Ethiopian Bible to be the original one. And maybe that had all that stuff in there, and that was taken out. But again, we don't know, because that's not information that we have access to. So I think when it comes to this whole technology, talk about them banning, I understand everyone wants to protect the kids. As a parent, I get that too. But we have to understand that they're not doing it for the kids. They're doing it because they don't like the fact that you now have access to information they'd rather that you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I also think that the algorithm being addicted is also a prescribed thing, and they knew and they did it and they should pay.
Yeah,
because you had people saying you shouldn't be doing this and they carried on doing it. But everything you said is absolutely spot on, most definitely. And the aliens coming in and how people will switch, they will start being like the aliens are the gods. And so religious people, because you already have those neuropaths, are just going to switch to another god. He'll probably be called like Zakon or something. Maybe I'll have an alien alias and it will be they'll start worshipping me. Who knows? But people will turn their attention and worship the aliens. That's all.
Thank you, Strike. We got another talk. Thanks so much for your contribution, Strike, as well, earlier on. Your commentary. Now we've got a queer. Oh, queer's gone. Oh, what's happened? Guys, if you want to join the chat, you have to make it. If you haven't made a donation already, you must make a donation to the coffers or sign up for membership.
Or be a member.
And then you can join the conversation. Other than that, we will move on. And the queer, let us know when you want to come back. We don't know what's happened. A quick one for me before we round up to do a bit of nonsense. I'm sure you guys saw the Druski skit. I just found these, Erica, I found these two people discussing the situation in a very, oh look, Nakmeezy's here. We're going to speak to Nakmeezy first. I'm even scared.
Has Nakmeezy sent money through? No, he has, hasn't he? Or she? I don't even know now who was who. Yeah, go on.
He actually has put quite a few controversial contributions.
Let's go, Nakmeezy.
Go on.
Peace, y'all. How y'all doing?
All good.
Yeah, I don't think they're controversial. I just, it's another viewpoint on the reparations aspect from Ghana. Let me just say, my best vacation on the planet was Ghana. Okay, I went after the year of return. I was embraced by all ethnic groups. I found a home among the Ga people in Accra. So I've been studying Ghana and the history for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So when I make these comments, I'm not making them as an internet troll or anything, which is why I cut the check in the chat before I say something.
Appreciate you.
My point about, yes, no problem. My point about reparations, right? It's not only money, right? But if you understand the relationship between specifically the Ashanti tribe and the other Akan ethnic group, which were the Fanti by Cape Coast, they were, cool with the English. If you look at the Asafo flag, they actually had the English flag in the Asafo flag. The English ended up beating the Ashanti, who were cool with the Dutch. I'm in Holland, which is why I'm sending Euro, but I'm actually from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a Black American. And when I did the research about the relationship between the Dutch and Ashanti, I'm like, wow. Kweku Duapanin, one of the Ashanti kings, actually had his son and his nephew come and study in the Netherlands. And part of that deal was that the Ashantis would supply warriors to fight against the uprising in Indonesia, because the Dutch like to go everywhere. So I'm saying from a reparation standpoint, there is something that Ghana, or what is now known as Ghana, can do, and it not necessarily has to be money. And again, Black Americans overwhelmingly don't come from Ghana. Most of us come from Nigeria and Sierra Leone and in that area. But if I could just throw my hat in the ring, I would say, look, man, do a little more for the people in Suriname and in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? There are certain communities that are at risk in those places, and the reparations from Black people, right? And you can't have Black without Africa, look different than they do from the Europeans, okay? But reparations definitely need to come, and that's why I land my plane, sisters.
Thank you, Nakmeezy. But I think
Nakmeezy, I did state, maybe you missed it, I did say that Ghana is still one of the only countries to have done a formal apology to all of the descendants of slavery. They put their hands up and they did say that we are culpable for reparations, and they do have numerous schemes with various different countries in place that are forms of reparations. That is happening now. Ghana has never run away from it. And there are Ghanaians on the ground as well that are also, like other Ghanaians within our education systems, they also need to teach Ghanaians on the ground as to their history properly. History is always taught through a certain lens as well. So let's not think that the Ashantis were in cahoots with the Dutch. No, an elite class were definitely in cahoots, and they were selling off, and they militarized the normal folks who are just trying to do their lives like we are, just trying to live our lives. Our governments are not us. My prime minister is not me. So let's think of the nuance of the people that you would be meeting on the ground. Doesn't matter what tribe they are, where they are from in Ghana. Most of them had absolutely zero things to do with, and think it is heinous what the elites were doing to other human beings. That's
May
all
I
I'm
make a
saying.
correction
That's the
then?
spin on
No,
it.
you're absolutely right. It's the leadership of these ethnic groups, okay?
Yes.
There were a lot of lay people that were against it.
And we're
I think
fighting.
the majority were against it, you know? So I agree with your point, sis. So salute to all of y'all. And look, I'm gonna take back my shot at Ghanaian Jollof. It was delicious, okay? I was
Exactly. You
just
knew you
doing
were. We knew you were trying to on that.
Like we see,
Alright.
we know we're troll when we see one, but thank you. And enjoy next time you go to Ghana. Go and have your lovely wache and egg in a leaf. I love it too. I am married to a Gar man, so I know the benefits of the Gar tribe. They are beautiful as well.
Thank you so much, Easy. Take care. Let's bring up the next person. And I also want to actually bring up the next person, Sister Kriya. I think just when you're talking about leaders, again, it was a percent of people that were interacting with the Western colonizers and enslavers. And also what the other chick was saying in the black and white video that I played, where she was saying there's like this generational lineage of people who profited. That's not the case. We don't have like a generation of leaders that continue to become leaders, to become presidents, to become leaders of the government. It doesn't work like that. It's not the same as the Western systems. That's fragmented. It's like they're here, there, and everywhere, and all that type of stuff. But yeah, thank you for a little bit of history, Nakmizi.
Sister, what do you want to say?
What would you like to say, sis? Hello.
Hi everyone, so happy to be on. I just wanted to say something a little bit about Mahama's deal with the UN, because I think it's really, really, really interesting, especially in light of getting the UN to approve this. Slavery was one of the worst things to happen in humanity. I think what we're actually also seeing is the elite shifting and covering all its bases. Now, one of the things a lot of people don't know is that there are tons of American bases throughout Africa, and quite a lot of them in Ghana. Now, you've got the elites, who are basically the people who are fighting in Iran, the Israelis, the USA, that's going on. But USA, Israel could lose. Now, if Israel and the USA lose, that leaves the southern part of the hemisphere really, really open in terms of all these American bases, all these American companies who own everything, all of our gold and our bauxite and everything. So all that's being done is the elites are shifting focus to reinforce all these old deals with, starting with Ghana. You'll see it go across the rest of Africa, so that if America and Israel lose in Iran, nothing changes in Africa.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's being stolen just gets stolen through the EU. And I think that's really what's going on. And to distract us, you get this vote on what's going on, but that's still fine. Groups who are really interested in reparations, not monetary reparations in terms of give every black person $1 million, but what we can do is talk about reparations in the form of different types of trade deals, where we start saying we want to cancel all royalties on our natural resources. Why? I'm not a musician. I don't need royalty on my gold. I need to be able to sell my gold, my oil, my cocoa, and all of those kind of things. So it's more of the same, but it's still an opportunity if people start thinking right.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
What is it like on the ground in Ghana?
It's really interesting because a lot of people.
Just like you're on a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're at Lewis. Okay.
No, we have a garden centre here, so I'm just wandering around the garden. Yeah. People are talking about it. People are really happy, but I think a lot of people who know.
Which one are they happy about?
So people are happy. People are happy about kind of like getting slavery reclassed. I think a lot of people who are thinking people are more worried about the UN thing, because there's also, we know what's going on in Burkina Faso and in Ghana. There's been this whole tomato thing. Burkina Faso doesn't want to send us any more tomatoes. There's been a few little things, and some of us are also worried that this could be a way of pulling Africa into a bigger war.
Right.
By having suddenly Ghana's upset with Burkina Faso.
Exactly.
Burkina Faso is backed by the Russians. So all of a sudden there's a fake war between, you know, the two countries. And also another thing to add is that Russia is employing a lot of Africans to come and fight in Ukraine, who are only getting 3 weeks of training. Britain's always done that. Canada's always done that. America's always done that. Germany's always done that. So it feels like we just have to keep our eyes really, really open. That once again, just like with the First World War and the Second World War, one of the facts that are not talked about is the largest number of people who died in both of those wars were black and brown people. We're not Russians, we're not British, we're not Germans. So we got to keep our eyes open, man.
Yeah. Do you think Muhammad's going to listen to the people? Is there enough of a counter? Yeah, you're laughing, I know.
No, because politics, all the politicians who get position went to school in the UK or America, or the UK and America, or Russia, and all three. We do not, across this planet, there are no leaders who work for the people. And I actually think the quicker ordinary human beings really understand that. And the same thing in the UK. I was on someone's podcast just yesterday talking about the Green Party for the UK. You know, we've got to get our heads wrapped. We've got to just look at history and think, has there ever been a political leader who has carried out groundbreaking stuff that they've promised once they've got in that has changed the system? And until we have systemic change, we don't get anything we really want as human beings on this planet.
Thank you, sister.
Do you think the aliens are going to come and save us?
They're going to come, but I don't know if they're going to save us. But they're already here, you know that.
Exactly. Thank you very, very much. We're gonna
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Next person.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stephen. Oh, we've got Stephen. Hey, Stephen.
Yeah. What would you like to say, Stephen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, hello, sisters. How you doing?
Yeah.
Love the show. Big fan. Thank you very much for having me up. I've been meaning to talk for weeks, but this is a really good opportunity. Anyway, Octavia Butler, amazing storyteller, but it's mostly horror, sci-fi horror. So if you're into that sort of thing, she tells you about how the aliens will actually come and what they will actually do to us. And it's a lot of sort of, you know, horror. It's not nice. So we don't actually want the aliens to come. That's my sort of personal opinion. So the last sort of speaker's point, really, it's that, you know, there are not enough Black institutions to sort of support some of these ambitions that we have. And I think sometimes we look at the end goal and sort of, you know, try and shoot for that. But what's the sort of, you know, LMN part of getting to the, you know, the XYZ of these goals that we have? For instance, you know, with understanding what military partnerships are like with other countries, even with those that you potentially have fought with in the past, at some point there needs to be an acceptance that we don't have local military industries or even companies that we can invite into our countries that can then help us build our sort of self-worth and sort of military ability to deal with the problems in the Sahel. Because the Sahel issues are across West Africa. It's not just Ghana, like where I'm from in Nigeria. In the Delta states, you know, we don't really come across these things. But we also know that inside Nigeria, there's a lot of tension, even from the Biafra era, where you have many people sort of saying the North is dominating the South, and the North is funded by, Arabification, or the British pay the North to sort of dominate the South where the resources are. it's a classic divide and conquer, and I think that happens within countries, within diasporas, and generally it is only resisted via some sort of institutional approach to it. So I say all of that to say these FBAs, we can't talk about them anymore. They are just the trolls that keep feeding us. They are horrendous people. I think even that nice one, the Gojdu's there talking, but I straight think he's a Fed. Straight. There's no fucking, the way he's been talking. The way he's been talking, I'm like, nah, bro. Nah, what are you on for saying these things? Nah, like, there are some things, and he's a MAGA dude. And that's the problem, right? We've got all these black MAGAs that can no longer stand with their head tall in their own arenas. So they'll come over here and they'll say, yeah, I'm FBA. No, you were MAGA like 6 months ago. And now you're talking this talk because there's no one over there that you can actually say, yeah, you know what? I don't even know how a black man could still support Trump. So they've all left and they found this new home and they come to abuse us. We can't give them a home. We can't feed the trolls. We can't do it no more.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's not we don't want to get into people's everything else you said. Thank you so much, and thank you for your donations and contributions. We appreciate you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you.
Why do I get tickled so much when people are cussing? I do. Flipping hilarious.
Goj, have you paid up? Goj is like, let me get on. Goj, if you're going to come and talk properly, don't not doing an insult. We're not doing back and forth. You lot can comment to each other. Okay?
Exactly. Little Rock is like, Goj, have you paid up though?
Yeah. You could drop the link for him. If you're going to come and say something sensible and show your face too, I want to see if you're as handsome as you're trying to say. So if I should link up with you when you come to London, for real.
I saw a really good video. I don't know how easy it would be because I didn't save it. It was on Amanda Seale's page, and it was like a historical look at Grenada. It was through the revolution. It was a quick one, but I thought it was really, really good because especially like revolutionary states in the Caribbean, people always say Cuba. They always talk about Cuba. They talk about Haiti. But I think to see what happened in other places was a good one as well.
Yeah, she shared that the other day. But okay. It's that one.
There we go. Yeah.
Continue the struggle against imperialism. Our duty is to continue to build our Grenada revolution and ensure that we, as one Grenada people, small as we are, will forge that wider, meaningful link and will ensure the unity of our people. Long live the Grenada revolution. All power and glory to our people. Forward ever. Forward ever. Forward ever.
Late great Morris Bishop there.
Yeah, that's what I say.
And these are the things because it's like I was watching it, and I know Farrah, you have said it numerous times. Like when a revolution is coming, and then they just kill the person.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like when they don't, generally, and somebody comes in on a revolution, we kind of got to be like, are they really real? Because when it's really real, you're getting out of here, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need the systems like what the Iranians have in place. That if one person goes, there are 6 others there, and then there's 6 others it needs to. And we can't have organizations though, Stephen. I know what you're saying, but it has to be in small silos that are not spoken about.
Yeah,
and we're just doing the work. We are doing it. We have different means of communication. Folks ain't gonna know it's happening until the levels are in place, and then the party can emerge because they will take out the most vocal leaders. When you have a good person that can talk, they find them when they're teenagers.
Yeah, we said it
about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and who was it that? So I think it was one of the commenters or one of you guys that said that when they go, his sister said it. They all grew and trained and went to school in Europe, Russia, America, and so we were saying it last. Was it Shay that studied or went to military school?
He was
in the military class. It was last week when we spoke about it.
Somebody was asking what he's selling off DNA. He is selling off the data to America. He's done a data deal, and so people's medical records are being up for
Basically,
sale.
this is what they've done is, let me get it word for word. Burkina Faso has become the latest African country to sign Donald Trump's controversial health funding deal. This development will spark curiosity. Under the deal, the US will provide $147 million, while Burkina Faso will contribute $107 million over the next 5 years under the guise of health funding. However, the organizations within that health funding will then be able to get African Burkina Faso's people's data and use that for their health studies and health research. And as we know, if you believe in all the kind of trials and things that they do on Black DNA, just for as simple as those aliens that want to stay young forever, they want to understand the DNA of us so they can recreate and stay alive forever. So that's where the aliens come in. All right, guys, moving on for some last. I think it's going to have to be wrap up as nonsense and final things. I just, like I said, saw these two white women breaking down Druski's video, and I thought, yeah, let them talk about it for once. And I thought it was quite funny. And this chick is known for speaking about white people and their behavior quite candidly. I can't remember her name though, but yeah, here we go. And it shows the video within it.
Conservative.
Oh, yeah, I love these guys.
That are sanctimonious. They think they're better than everybody, that have ridden the coattails of the hard work of liberal women to make the world a safer place where these women can have jobs, where these women can have an opinion, are in the throes of a stage 5 meltdown because their hero, grifter, and phony, mentally disturbed Erica Kirk has had a mirror put up to her by a Black comedian named Druski. And this is some of, not just a comedy skit, in my opinion. This is one of the best political moves I have seen since Trump's second inauguration. There is a cultural problem on the right. There is a cult of personality on the right where white people feel aggrieved. They feel like they are victims. And in their own inferiority and insecurities, and in their own form, this weird sect of Christianity where they bathe in Christian narcissism, they believe that the world is set up against them. And Druski pops up a mirror to them of what we have all been seeing, which is these phony, fake, white, oh, I'm a big Christian. You know the profiles on Instagram with the cross and his child with his capitalized. Let's play the clip from Druski.
Get on your feet,
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. We are all his children. And when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible. Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic cup. Yes, everything organic. We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yeah. Because they are the ones who matter most.
God.
Okay, I want to remind you that Elon Musk said comedy is legal again. Woke culture is dead. All of the snowflakes can sit and suffer. The meltdown among the victims on the right who either are in constant victimhood, these fucking titty baby snowflakes that weaponize their faith, as Erica Kirk does all the time, to grift and to make money. And let's just say it, the way she has behaved Yeah, since her husband was assassinated is fucking crazy. It's beyond everybody grieves in their own ways. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. And she is a hero on the right. And if you want to see some white on white crime, I support 100% annihilating these white wannabe fake Christian women that behave exactly the way Druski did and put up a mirror. Pumps and I can tell you from living in deep MAGA culture, everything with these women is performative. You can have a moment with them and you turn around and they will fucking rip whoever was just sitting there with them from top to bottom. They believe in nothing. There is no conviction. They wouldn't stand up for anybody. All they know how to do is play victim. I support Druski. These white women that go and triple Trump and that worship Erica Kirk and want their sons to be like Charlie Kirk are a fucking cancer. I love the MAGA meltdown for this. I am here for it.
It's always when you put up a mirror.
I mean, there's more. It is a very interesting video, but it's long. So
I love her. Pumps
Yeah.
is my favorite. Pumps. So that's, I can't remember what her name is. Is it Julie?
I can't remember the name. Yeah,
But
yeah.
Pumps is the one with the glasses, and
Yeah.
I think it's Julie. Always calls her Pumps, so that's how I know her name. I think her original name is Angie. She was,
Yeah,
she
she
was
said
an
it. She
expert.
talked about it. Yeah.
So it's actually interesting. I watch these guys all the time. I love their takes because they talk about white people like we do. It makes me laugh that they are there. They have too much faith in the Democrat Party though, but
Yeah.
I like watching them. They're needed. Jan and Pumps, that's it. Thank you.
Pumps. That's the part. You watch the whole video, it's quite funny. And I think on the back of a very extensive marathon of talking, that will be our nonsense of the day. Well, the MAGA meltdown and the fact that Erica Kirk tried to sue Druski.
Yeah, she's done a cease and desist, hasn't she?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny, they were saying that she can forgive the person who shot her husband in the neck, but she can't forgive Druski.
And look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
A whole assassination. I forgive him. And they're all applauding. But when somebody basically does an impersonation of you, but he didn't lie. Nothing in that skit is a lie. You've done all of that. You're cease and desist, please. Really?
Exactly.
What an idiot. And we are supposed to think that this woman is truly a grieving widow and not a flipping assassin.
And let's not forget the whole revolving all of this around Christianity. I don't know what Bible you lot are reading from, the Book of Satan, I believe.
Right? Because, please.
All right, guys, we want to say thanks to everyone who made a donation. Natnans, can you line them up?
Loads of them. 34.
This has been a good Sunday tithing.
Whoa, I think this has been our best ever.
Yeah, baby.
For a long time.
Okay, all right. Get your clapping chops on, girls. All right, we started off £10 from Kevin. Thank you so much.
Kevin set the pace.
Kevin came back in with another £5. Thank you so much. Then we have Rosh came in with $9.99. Thank you. Then Louisa Wusu came in with £10. Thank you so much. We have Strike came in with £10 as well, paying his dues.
And contributing to the chat. Thank you very much for your opinions.
Kevin came back again with another £5. Thank you so much. We have Ailey came back with $4.99. Kevin came back with another £5 again. Then he came back in with another tenner. Thank you. Then we had Mad Gimme came in as well with 20 Norwegian. Can't remember what the last part is. And then Shay gave us £9 as well. Thank you so much. Kevin came back with another £5. Thank you so much. Then Mad Gimme came back again with another 20. Then we had Kevin come back again with another £5. Mad Gimme. Oh, they were battling. I didn't see
You two were battling. It's like
this was a battle. This was a
it's
battle.
like was it, you know, like when you're bidding?
Yeah.
And I'll raise it.
Yeah.
He came in with another 20. Then we had Gold, the
Gold,
percent, but he paid money. $19.99. Kevin was like, no, no, you will not beat me. I will come back again and avenge
And
my
he came
auntie."
with facts. Kevin comes with facts every time.
He does. He doesn't just send money. He sends facts too.
Official
He came
research.
with another
Yes.
He is.
£5.
He is.
Then Shay, our
Shay.
new best friend, who's looking to start
Yes.
as a house that she's building in Ghana from Brooklyn, New York, gave us $25
And she
as
contributed
well.
wonderfully to the conversation. This is what we need, more guys that think like you, so we can agree, disagree, and agree and disagree and all that stuff without it turning into beef and nonsense. Thank you, Shay.
And then Kevin was like, "Not you trying to take my spot, Shay.
How very dare you?
I'm going to donate again."
I am the man.
And then he decided to up his donation and donate again.
Kevin, man, well done. Thank you.
Big money bags Kevin today.
And then Stephen was like, "I will help these girls out a little bit as well," and he gave us a £5. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you, and contributing.
Yep.
And contributing to the chat. Thank you, Stephen. Clear points. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jay said
Strike
no.
was
She's
like,
from Long
"Let me
Island.
give you more money," and he gave us another £5 as well. Thank you, Strike.
Thank you.
And then Stephen was like, "No, I will avenge the aunties and come back," and he gave us £5 more. Then Kevin was like, "Absolutely not. I haven't been up on the screen for a while," and he gave another £5. Strike was like, "You will not outdo me, no." And he gave us another £5. Then Stephen was like, "I need to be in there too," and he gave us £2. Mad Gimme was like, "It's been a while since I contributed," and he gave us 50 Norwegian.
Oh, thank you.
And then came back again and was like, "They deserve even more. Here's another 20. And then we had Mac came along and he was like, "I'll give them euros." Oh, he did say he was somewhere in Europe, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's given us 11 euros.
Fueling our toxic relationship. And
then
then
Coach was like, I've enjoyed this. I've argued, I've enjoyed this. I've got a lot off my chest. And he decided to come back as well. Came in swinging, but gave us some money, $9.99. Kevin was like, "Absolutely not. Are you going to talk about me?" Gave us another £5 as well. Thank you so much. And then Strike was like, "And I'm getting in there again." Gave us £2 more. Nak was like, "I'm not done," and gave us euros more.
Oh, Party Gang from into the chat.
And then Body Gang! No. Thank you so much, guys.
So much. Lovely afternoon. It's been crazy, but thank you very much. It's been a great show. And introducing our new sections, Farrah's Take and Nana's Alternative Corner. We got these bits. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate you. And as we always say, the donations are not for us to buy shoes, it's for us to keep this going. So we can bring you the news and nonsense and your Aunties Could Never, the main show for you on a weekly basis. So thank you so much. We truly, truly appreciate it. And we like to understand you don't get into the spirit of the things. You want to talk, let's exchange some numbers and then we'll do it. And Ghost, I'm saying to you, if you come to London, you better be hot stuff. You better be like, "This is your American king. I'm here for you. I'm waiting. I'm ready." When you come to let me see. We can
oh my God. Yes. Actually, Chef, spot on. Today has been an emotional roller coaster. This has been very fun. Frustrating, fun, and exhilarating. And you guys have given us a lot of money. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Right,
Okay.
enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Do you all have links on the channel?
Why did that make you scream, nigga?
Exactly. Like he was a scream or something. What type of shit was that?
Okay.
All right, so good. I am hot stuff. I mean, okay. But that could. Is that really you?
He said he was in the military, so maybe that's why he's so patriotic. Imagine the beef that we would get into. And how old are you as well? Let's go. How old are you?
Oh my God, you turned into a dating service. Oh, Lord.
All right.
All right, we off now. Thank you so much for the $9.99. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Wonderful Sunday. See you next Sunday.
Bye.